Chapter 1661. You're wrong. He's not pretending to be weak. He's just testing the limits of his heavenly demon incarnation's defense. Even if he didn't do that, with that punch, the first hero would still die. Feng Ming and Wu Yang shook their heads and said, he's not fighting to the death. He's just using the first hero as a training ground. Do you mean that his absolute power surpasses the first hero? That's impossible. His cultivation is so weak. Dragon Phoenix still couldn't believe it. Haha, you'll know later. There will be another battle between him and the Dragon Prince. At that time, you'll know whether he used his full strength or not. Feng Ming and Wu Yang smiled and said, although your eyesight is bad, I still have to praise you. You've done a good job building a good relationship with Ling Xiao and not offending him. Dragon Phoenix was naturally happy to be praised by Feng Ming and Wu Yang. However, he still didn't believe that Ling Xiao still had the strength to defeat the Dragon Prince. He looked at the Dragon Prince. Only then did he realize that the Dragon Prince was staring at Ling Xiao. The Dragon Prince's gaze was cold and filled with hatred. However, there was also incomparable shock in his eyes. The cruel reality told him that Ling Xiao could kill an early-stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist with one punch. Moreover, he was one of the best martial artists in this realm. The first hero's strength could completely look down on martial artists of the same realm. Moreover, this was the White Tiger continent. The first hero was killed after using all his strength. If it was the other 6 heroes' deaths, he could still use the excuse that there was a problem with the laws of the divine Phoenix continent. However, the first hero was killed. This excuse was completely untenable. Ling Xiao was too terrifying. Could he really defeat this guy? The Dragon Prince, who was originally full of confidence, began to hesitate. No, definitely. Moreover, only I can defeat him now. The Dragon Crown Prince gritted his teeth and used self-encouragement to cheer himself up. His cultivation was stronger than the first hero's. His bloodline wasn't weaker than the first hero's. Moreover, he had a martial soul that the first hero didn't have. With all of these added together, he didn't believe that he couldn't kill Ling Xiao. He absolutely could not back down from this battle. Once he did, he would be completely finished. On the path of martial arts, being afraid of someone with a lower cultivation than oneself would cause one's faith to crumble completely. At this moment, his gaze collided with Ling Xiao's, and a blast of energy exploded in the air. Their gazes were like 2 sharp blades that clashed in the void. Among ordinary people, there were often people who said, if looks could kill, then someone would have died many times over. However, among the warriors, especially the powerful ones, it had already been proven that looks could really kill. Dragon Prince, the next one to die will be you. Ling Xiao suddenly opened his mouth, and a casual sentence came out of his mouth. He said it so naturally, so naturally. It was as if he wanted to kill the Dragon Crown Prince, the Dragon Crown Prince would not be able to live. This was the White Tiger continent. It was the territory of the Water Spirit Hall. Even the Dragon Phoenix Mountain had to listen to the Water Spirit Hall. After Ling Xiao killed the first hero, he didn't think of escaping but killing the Dragon Prince. One had to know that in the Water Spirit Hall, the Water God's son and the Dragon Prince were the candidates for the successor of the Sect Master and Protector, respectively. They were the top existences among the young warriors. Even the Tianhai Pearl, the daughter of the Water Spirit Hall's Sect Master, couldn't compare to them. Ling Xiao actually said that he wanted to kill him. Didn't this mean that he wanted to become enemies with the Water Spirit Hall? And he didn't have any fear at all? Very good. The Dragon Prince's tongue exploded like thunder as he looked coldly at Ling Xiao. An incomparably powerful, murderous aura surrounded his body. You killed the first hero. This prince hasn't taken revenge on you yet, and you say that you want to kill this prince? I think you're living too comfortably. You've forgotten how much you're worth. Everyone could feel the Dragon Prince's murderous aura. They all knew that the Dragon Prince really wanted Ling Xiao's life. The last person who said that was him, and he's already dead. Ling Xiao pointed indifferently at the first hero's corpse that had already turned into a ball and said with some disdain, "You will definitely follow in his footsteps. Either you die or I live." This was the current attitude of Ling Xiao and the Dragon Prince. This Ling Xiao, it seems that he really wants to show off his strength to the Water Spirit Hall as soon as he came to the White Tiger continent. Feng Ming and Wu Yang smiled and said, "Although the Water Spirit Hall isn't considered a top sect in the White Tiger continent, it is still a second-rate sect in the upper middle reaches of the Tianhai Empire. This brat is really arrogant, but I like it. Yes, this isn't just arrogance, it's courage. Terrifying courage." Venerable Master Long Huang sighed. No one would have thought that he would single-handedly slaughter his way to the White Tiger continent. In the Water Spirit Temple's territory, he sought vengeance on the Water Spirit Temple's martial artists and even killed the #1 hero. This old man is ashamed of his heroism and boldness. Not to mention you. Even I can't compare to him. Feng Ming and Wu Yang shook their heads and said, "If I had such courage, I wouldn't have been suppressed by the Water Spirit Hall all these years. I deserve to be looked down upon." However, boldness was one thing, but his strength was the most shocking thing. Who would have thought that a 3rd-level Yin-Yang realm martial artist could kill an early 6th-level Yin-Yang realm martial artist with one punch? Sect Master is right. This brat is completely different from the Ling Xiao I saw in the dragon-slaying forest. At that time, Ling Xiao wasn't so powerful. Master Long Huang nodded and said. The two of them looked at the Dragon Prince. They wondered what the Dragon Prince would do in the face of such a powerful Ling Xiao. "I have to say, your strength really surprises me. Your improvement is beyond my imagination." The Dragon Prince looked at Ling Xiao. He no longer had the confusion and fear from before. Instead, it was replaced with indifference and hatred. "However, even now, I still have to say that you came to the White Tiger continent alone to seek revenge. This is the stupidest thing to do. Do you think that Feng Ming and Wu Yang tacitly allowed you to fight with us here to help you? That's harming you. I'll give you a chance now. Become the new first hero of the Water Spirit Hall, and I'll let bygones be bygones. How about it?" The Dragon Prince's words made many martial artists of the Water Spirit Hall grit their teeth. They felt very uncomfortable. Ling Xiao was the person who had destroyed the 7 heroes of the Water Spirit Hall. How could they accept letting such a person become the first hero? However, with the Dragon Prince's strength, they didn't dare to object. They would do whatever the Dragon Prince said. However, in the face of such an invitation, Ling Xiao only smiled disdainfully and said, "I've said before, killing you is my main goal in coming to the White Tiger continent. That first hero only died once for you. If the Tianhai Saint Court invited me, I might consider it. However, what is the Water Spirit Hall? Are you worthy of making me, the Heavenly Emperor of the Tianhai Empire, your dog?" Chapter 1662. Refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, courting death. The Dragon Prince was very angry. He risked defending his fellow sect members and disregarded his previous enmity to rope in Ling Xiao. But he didn't expect that Ling Xiao actually didn't give him any face. How could this not make him angry? In the midst of his rage, layers of scales actually began to form on the Dragon Prince's body. Those were dragon scales, shiny dragon scales. At the same time, a terrifying dragon aura was constantly released from his body, filling the entire battlefield, causing all the nearby beasts to tremble and lie on the ground. Do you know which race the Heavenly Dragon continent belonged to before it was occupied by you humans? The Dragon Prince suddenly asked a question. Ling Xiao said indifferently, "What occupation?" From the day the human king established the world, the entire profound world was ruled under the human sacred dynasty. Although all races were harmonious, humans were respected. Humans were the spirit of all living things. I have heard that in the former Heavenly Dragon continent, there was a powerful heavenly dragon country that belonged to the sacred dynasty. But when the True Devil Empire invaded, it was completely annihilated by the True Devil Empire. Humph! How much of the things in the history books are true? The Dragon Prince suddenly snorted and said, "You humans are the most lowly and despicable race in this world. If it weren't for you, the heavenly dragon country would not have been destroyed." Ling Xiao did not speak. He just listened indifferently. He wanted to hear what kind of bullshit this dragon prince could come out of his mouth. In any case, he had just experienced a battle and was somewhat exhausted. Since the dragon prince was not prepared to fight immediately, he could take advantage of this opportunity to recover. The dragon prince continued to speak. Heavenly Dragon Country is a country dominated by the Heavenly Dragon Clan. The noble and powerful Heavenly Dragon Clan is the guardian of the Heavenly Dragon Continent. Even before the profound world was separated, when the Heavenly Dragon Continent was still called the Heavenly Dragon Domain, the Heavenly Dragon Clan was already guarding there. Ling Xiao had heard of this matter. It was rumored that the Heavenly Dragon Clan was a clan that possessed the Heavenly Dragon bloodline. Of course, they were different from the real Dragon Clan. They were just mixed blood of the Dragon Clan and humans. He could only be considered a descendant. The 10 ancient bloodline clans were all like this. After all, their history was too long, and the true ancient divine beasts were long gone. This was also why so many people were surprised when Long Chen revealed his identity as a member of the Dragon Clan. However, Ling Xiao didn't quite understand. Why would the Dragon Prince say this? What does this have to do with his battle with the Dragon Prince? As if seeing through his doubts, the Dragon Crown Prince continued. Tens of thousands of years ago, the true demon empire invaded the sacred dynasty. As a vassal state of the sacred dynasty, the celestial dragon kingdom naturally had to fight against the true demon empire's sea race army. The army of the true devil empire was simply too powerful. With the true devil heavenly emperor leading the army, they slaughtered their way into the sacred dynasty's holy city. However, after encountering the obstruction of the celestial dragon country, this arrogant army came to a halt. The celestial dragon country could be said to be the gateway to the holy city. One had to pass through here to reach the holy city. However, the army of the true devil empire was completely blocked there. The history books only recorded the battle between the true devil heavenly emperor and the holy emperor Jiwu. However, there was no record of the battle between the celestial dragon king and the true devil heavenly emperor. That battle was really evenly matched. This was also the first time the true devil heavenly emperor encountered such a terrifying opponent. Where did you see this from? Ling Xiao suddenly asked. Of course, from the history of our celestial dragon tribe. The Dragon Crown Prince said righteously, originally, if the Holy Emperor Jiwu was willing, he could definitely join forces with the Heavenly Dragon King to kill the true devil Heavenly Emperor. This way, the army of the true devil empire would definitely retreat. However, Jiwu didn't do so. Instead, he was afraid that the Heavenly Dragon King's achievements would overshadow his master. He actually tricked the Heavenly Dragon King into coming to the holy city to kill him. The Heavenly Dragon King had a heroic reputation, but in the end he was schemed against by despicable humans. Even the Heavenly Dragon tribe suffered because of this and was almost completely slaughtered. However, Jiwu probably didn't expect that the Heavenly Dragon King would pass down his Heavenly Dragon bloodline before he died. This person is my ancestor, and this Crown Prince is the inheritor of this generation's Heavenly Dragon bloodline. This bloodline is the bloodline that once fought the insufferably arrogant true devil Heavenly Emperor to a draw. As he spoke, the Dragon Crown Prince's aura suddenly erupted, and he entered his half-dragon form. A clear and majestic dragon roar echoed in the sky for a long time, unwilling to leave. I didn't expect Senior Brother to be a descendant of the Heavenly Dragon tribe and have the Heavenly Dragon King's bloodline. No wonder he calls himself the Dragon Crown Prince. Yeah, I always thought that the Dragon Crown Prince was the title of our Water God Temple. The martial artists of the Water God Temple discussed animatedly. They were all surprised and pleasantly surprised. However, Ling Xiao looked at the Dragon Crown Prince indifferently and said, "According to the history of the sacred dynasty, the Heavenly Dragon King colluded with the true devil Heavenly Emperor and killed the general sent by the Holy Emperor Jiwu in an attempt to rebel. That was why the Holy Emperor Jiwu personally killed him in the Heavenly Dragon City. It wasn't like what you said. That's nonsense, a distorted history." The Dragon Crown Prince roared. "Well, you can think of the history of the sacred dynasty as the history written by the victors. It's fake. However, the author of the history of the mystic world was the historian of the immortal court continent. At that time, the Heavenly Dragon King did secretly meet with the true devil Heavenly Emperor outside the city. After it was over, not only did he obtain the true devil Heavenly Emperor's death exemption gold medallion, but he also directly poisoned the grand prize sent by the Holy Emperor. Although this book didn't say that the Heavenly Dragon King betrayed, it was just a fact. But this is far from what you said, isn't it? Your Heavenly Dragon race's history doesn't seem to be reliable either." Ling Xiao was knowledgeable, especially after he obtained the Mountain River Martial Spirit. He had the ability to remember everything he saw. As long as he saw something, he would remember it clearly. And the things recorded in this history book were what he saw in the Yuehua school's library. This old man has also heard about it. One of the speculations that everyone agrees with is that the Heavenly Dragon King is indeed very strong. There is no doubt about this. Although the true devil Heavenly Emperor could defeat him, he was worried that this person would join forces with the Holy Emperor Jiwu, so he used the sowing of dissension. And the Heavenly Dragon King is more tyrannical, coupled with his arbitrary behavior, so he was tricked by the true devil Heavenly Emperor. In the face of the Heavenly Dragon King's actions, the Holy Emperor Jiwu could only kill him. He is the Holy Emperor. Even if he shed tears, he has to uphold the rules of the sacred dynasty. Feng Ming Wu Yang suddenly said, "Bullshit. You are all bullshit. My ancestor, the Heavenly Dragon King, is definitely not that kind of brainless person. It was those despicable humans who killed him and even splashed dirty water on him." The Dragon Crown Prince's reaction was very agitated. "All right, I'm too lazy to judge your ancestor. Since you have obtained the bloodline of the Heavenly Dragon King, then I want to see how powerful your bloodline is." It was hard to say what was right and wrong in the past, but this didn't prevent him from fighting with the Dragon Crown Prince today. This was enough. Chapter 1663. That's right, the past can't be determined, but the power of Dragon King Tian's bloodline is undeniable. The Dragon Prince looked at Ling Xiao coldly as the terrifying aura on his body grew stronger. The blood of Dragon King Tian flowed in his body and let out a tyrannical roar. "Ah!" The Dragon Prince held to the sky as his back bulged. "Kacha!" Suddenly, a pair of green wings drilled out from the two bulging places. The wings spread out, and a tyrannical gale began to howl in the surroundings. The perfect green wings seemed to be condensed from the green gale. The feathers were so beautiful and seemed to be filled with power and destruction. Sky Dragon. Legend has it that it was a divine dragon with wings, not a giant dragon. It controlled the power of the wind. Although its body was slightly shorter than an ordinary divine dragon, it had at most 8 pairs of wind and lightning wings. It seemed that the Dragon Prince had indeed grasped the power of Dragon King Tian's bloodline, but it had not reached that level, because it was obvious that he only had a pair of wind and lightning wings. The Sky Dragon controlled the power of the wind, but when it flew, there was the sound of thunder. Therefore, it was called the Wind and Lightning Wings. It's not over yet. The Dragon Prince smiled coldly, and then the sound of thunder rang out. Behind him, a ball of lightning appeared. Then it turned into the shape of a giant bird. Thunderbird, martial spirit? Ling Xiao frowned and suddenly said coldly, I didn't expect that not only did you inherit the power of Dragon King Tian's bloodline, but you also inherited the Thunderbird martial spirit that he took from General Thunderbird. Now, I can be sure that the things in the history books of the mystic world are probably true. No matter what reason your ancestor had, he killed General Thunderbird first and was killed by Saint Emperor Jiwu. Nonsense! This is clearly the martial spirit that General Thunderbird gave to my ancestor before he died, the Dragon Prince said coldly. So that's how it is. To be able to fabricate such a history, it seems that the records of the Sacred Dynasty's history books are more realistic. Your ancestor is really shameless. Ling Xiao smiled. In fact, neither Holy Emperor Jiwu nor Heavenly Dragon King had anything to do with him. He did not need to protect anyone, but the history fabricated by the Heavenly Dragon race could probably be concluded. He even made himself sound so wronged. What a joke! Martial soul fusion. The Dragon Prince roared, and his body changed again. The original wings of wind and lightning had actually changed. One side was flowing with the power of wind, while the other side was flowing with the power of lightning. One side flashed with green light, while the other side flashed with purplish-blue light. He held a purplish-blue ball of lightning in one hand and a green ball of wind in the other. Originally, the Sky Dragon only controlled the power of the wind, but now the Dragon Crown Prince could control the power of wind and thunder. How can this Dragon Prince be so strong? Esteemed Dragon Phoenix's body trembled slightly. He originally knew that the Dragon Crown Prince was stronger than him, but he had never imagined that the Dragon Crown Prince's strength would be so much higher than his. For a martial artist to grasp the power of wind and thunder at the same time, that was simply an inconceivable thing. However, the reality in front of him told him that the Dragon Prince could do it. The power of the Heavenly Dragon King's bloodline, coupled with the Thunderbird martial soul of General Thunderbird, could be said to be a perfect match. He could clearly feel the pain of the wind cutting through his skin. He could also clearly feel the pressure of the roar of thunder. Interesting. Things are more interesting than I imagined. Feng Ming and Wu Yang chuckled. If the Dragon Prince was too weak, then today's battle would be meaningless. Ling Xiao did not have the power of bloodline. At least that was the case according to the rumors, and in his opinion it was also the case. But Ling Xiao had many special martial skills, as well as a terrifying talent to improve his physical body, soul, and internal strength. These two people were like two tiger kings in the mountains. Neither could tolerate the other. This battle would be very interesting, even though it was still impossible to predict who would win or lose this battle. He originally thought that Ling Xiao would win, but that was when the Dragon Prince did not release the power of his bloodline and martial soul. Now he really could not see through them. Even with his eyesight, he was unable to see through them. Between the two of them, no one knew who was stronger or weaker. Both of you are heavenly geniuses. Are you really not going to consider giving up? No matter which one of you dies, it will be a huge loss to the Tianhai Empire. Feng Ming and Wu Yang sighed. Although they knew that this kind of advice might not have any meaning, they still wanted to try. Otherwise, it would really be a pity. Impossible. He killed the #1 hero and insulted my water god temple. Now that I have shown my trump card, how can I not kill him? Feng Ming and Wu Yang, you can't be thinking that he will die. So you made such a suggestion, right? The Dragon Prince glanced at Feng Ming and Wu Yang and said unhappily. Ling Xiao also said, Senior Feng Ming and Wu Yang, today's battle is unavoidable. Not to mention you. Even if the Emperor of the Tianhai Empire came here, he would not be able to make me stop. Meeting such a good opponent, how could Ling Xiao give up? It had been a long time since he had a hearty battle. Today, perhaps he could erupt again and test the results of his recent cultivation. He could try to master all kinds of techniques. After all, a battle between cultivators was not just a battle of strength. Wisdom also played a large part. If he faced the enemy head-on, he might not be a match for the Dragon Prince if he did not use the Sky Tyrant martial spirit. But he had many more tricks up his sleeve. Feng Ming and Wu Yang sighed and could only shut their mouths. Since they couldn't stop it, then they wouldn't. A true expert would eventually stand out after this battle. Perhaps this would be a good thing. Ling Xiao, I really admire you. Facing my trump card, you can still remain so calm. It's really rare. The Dragon Prince held Gale in one hand and Raging Thunder in the other as he looked coldly at Ling Xiao. He was really surprised that Ling Xiao did not choose to avoid the battle under such circumstances. In fact, he was really a little worried. If Ling Xiao accepted Feng Ming and Wu Yang's suggestion to stop the battle, then it would be very difficult for him to kill Ling Xiao. After all, that old ghost Feng Ming and Wu Yang was not simple. But now, Ling Xiao had once again made a stupid choice. This made him very happy and a little impressed. Is this your trump card? It's not bad, but it's not enough to scare me away. Ling Xiao smiled and said, Since you're so sincere, I'll let you see something fun. With that, Ling Xiao directly removed the heavenly demon incarnation. Then, a complete primordial heavenly demon and a complete primordial golden crow appeared behind him. On one side was the power of darkness and evil, causing people to avoid it. On the other side was the power of blazing light, causing people to feel awe. Chapter 1664. I knew you had the immemorial golden crow and the immemorial heavenly demon battle intent, but so what? You're still no match for me. The Dragon Prince said coldly, Don't worry, it's not over yet. Ling Xiao took a deep breath. Immemorial heavenly demon and immemorial golden crow. Fusion. 11th profound of light and shadow, evil god. This was the first time Ling Xiao had used the fusion of the 11th profound of light and shadow. As he used the move, a strange evil god appeared behind him. It wasn't an illusion, but something that really existed. The evil god had 3 heads and 6 arms, a pair of wings on its back, and 2 strange spears surrounded its body. One was golden, and the other was pure black. The evil god had 3 heads. One was the head of the golden crow, and the other was the head of the heavenly demon. The other one looked almost exactly the same as Ling Xiao, but its eyes were golden and black. It looked very strange and had a strong evil aura. 2 of its 6 arms looked like the claws of the golden crow, and the other 2 were the arms of the heavenly demon. The other 2 were human arms. These 2 arms held a black long sword and a golden long sword respectively. One was the dark demon sword, and the other was the light divine sword. Half of the wings on its back were golden, and the other half was reddish-black. The evil god was 7 to 8 meters tall, floating in the air, and the head with black and golden eyes in the middle was facing the Dragon Prince. Its eyes were filled with the aura of death and destruction. This guy. The Dragon Prince's face became gloomy again. Ling Xiao killed the first hero without using all his strength. How many trump cards does this guy have? And esteemed Dragon Phoenix was definitely more surprised than the Dragon Prince. Sect Master, it seems that you're right. Ling Xiao really didn't use all his strength to kill the first hero. This guy really has a trump card. Esteemed Dragon Phoenix looked at Feng Ming and Wu Yang. Don't worry, I think he should have other means. It's not just that. Feng Ming and Wu Yang smiled. Just now they were just speculating, but this time they were sure. Facing the powerful Dragon Prince, Ling Xiao had no intention of retreating. This proved that Ling Xiao was very confident in facing this opponent. It would be impossible if he did not have a stronger trump card. Ling Xiao, this move of yours is indeed powerful. Is it the evil god? He was really powerful, but so what? You're only at the 3rd level of the yin-yang realm. The difference between our cultivation levels is too great. You'll definitely lose to me. As he spoke, his figure suddenly flickered, and the wind and thunder wings on his back flapped lightly. He was no longer where he was standing. Ling Xiao frowned slightly but did not move. He had to admit that the dragon prince, who had the wings of wind and thunder, was indeed very fast. However, if the other party wanted to compete with him in terms of speed, then he was simply courting death. He opened his Tai Chi eye and quickly caught sight of an afterimage. He could feel two terrifying forces coming towards him at the same time. They were very fast and from very tricky angles. He had to admit that if he did not have the Tai Chi eye, he would not have been able to detect these two attacks. But now he sneered. Boom! Crack! Two sounds rang out almost at the same time. After the thunder, there was a gust of wind. The wind and thunder fused together and became even more powerful. However, the lightning ball and wind ball were blocked by two swords. The evil god floated in the sky and stabbed one sword at the lightning ball and the other at the wind ball. It was majestic and evil. Block? You can block it once, but can you block it a second time? Facing Ling Xiao's defense, the dragon prince smiled coldly. The wind and thunder wings glowed, and his figure became even more mysterious. Kaboom! Then, even crazier attacks came continuously. Raging lightning, terrifying wind. A dense barrage of attacks shot towards Ling Xiao. The evil god rushed left and right. Fortunately, it had 3 heads and 6 arms. Otherwise, it would have been very difficult to block these continuous attacks. This evil god was formed by the fusion of the primordial golden crow and primordial heavenly demon battle intense. Otherwise, if it was anyone else facing the dragon prince's attacks alone, they would have been torn to pieces. Even so, it was obvious that the evil god was suppressed. Ling Xiao was suppressed. Everyone saw this scene very clearly and understood very well. Ling Xiao frowned. If the dragon prince was just an ordinary Yin-Yang realm level 6 martial artist, or even a genius like the first hero, he would definitely fight head-on. However, the dragon prince was not ordinary. However, the dragon prince wasn't a mediocre person. This guy was a true genius. He could even be considered a monster. Facing such a person, it was really difficult to challenge someone 3 levels above him. If he didn't use the Overlord martial soul, how could he win? Ling Xiao pondered silently as he defended against his opponent's attacks. The Overlord martial soul was his strongest trump card, but he couldn't use it easily. Unless he had no choice, he wouldn't use it. However, the Dragon Prince's attacks were really strong. If this continued, the evil god wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Even the evil god, who was supported by the Emperor Heaven-Earth power, couldn't block it. This was why the Dragon Prince was so terrifying. The Dragon Prince definitely had the ability to instantly kill the first hero. The difference in cultivation between the two wasn't huge, but the difference in strength was like heaven and earth. Even so, Ling Xiao was still confident that he could defeat the Dragon Prince. That was because he still had more tricks up his sleeve. Ling Xiao didn't like to rely on his only trump card. Hence, he was very calm in every battle. Even if the Dragon Prince was stronger than he expected, he could still adjust his strategy and destroy the Dragon Prince. Kaboom! Finally, under the continuous attacks, the evil god's 2 arms were smashed into pieces and fell to the ground. The Dragon Prince laughed maniacally and took the chance to launch an even more ferocious attack. He destroyed 6 of the evil god's arms. In the end, the furious wind and lightning destroyed the evil god. Even though the attack took more than half an hour, it was definitely worth it to the Dragon Prince. Ha ha ha, Ling Xiao, did you see that? Your strongest trump card couldn't block my attack. What right do you have to reject my invitation? I'll give you one last chance. Follow me and prosper. Go against me and die. Whether you live or die is in your own hands. I'll give you 3 minutes. Make your choice. After completely defeating the evil god, the Dragon Prince didn't continue to chase. Instead, he laughed maniacally. Victory was already in his grasp. This time, it's impossible for Ling Xiao to make a comeback. He's dead for sure. The warriors of the Water God Temple had experienced the battle between the first hero and Ling Xiao. so they didn't dare to easily comment on the outcome. However, after seeing the scene, even the cautious ones like them felt that it was impossible for Ling Xiao to win. Master Long Huang looked at Feng Ming and Wu Yang, wanting to know what she meant. However, Feng Ming and Wu Yang were also expressionless, because he couldn't determine if Ling Xiao still had the ability to defeat his opponent. Chapter 1665. Feng Ming and Wu Yang believed that Ling Xiao had more than one trump card. However, his trump card might not be powerful enough to defeat the powerful Dragon Crown Prince. Strongest trump card? Who told you that the demon god is my strongest trump card? Ling Xiao smiled disdainfully. I've never tried this move before. I'm just trying it out to see how powerful it is. I'm actually very satisfied that it can block the attacks of a peak 6th level Yin-Yang realm genius like you for half an hour. Of course, I'm only satisfied with its defense. I don't think you've tried its attack before, right? As he spoke, the demon god that had been completely defeated gathered together again. Didn't anyone tell you that this is only one of my ultimacy moves? As long as I don't die, as long as I have enough inner strength and soul power, it can be resurrected repeatedly. How many times can you defeat it? Ling Xiao had a mocking smile on his face. The martial artists from the Water God Temple all looked as if they had lost their parents. They had forgotten that the demon god was not a summoned creature, nor was it Ling Xiao's actual body. So what if it was defeated? The Dragon Crown Prince's eyes were as dark as a black hole. He felt intense anger. He even felt like he was going to explode. He was pissed. He was a peak 6th level Yin-Yang realm martial artist. He had the Heavenly Dragon King bloodline and the Thunder Bird martial soul. However, he felt so aggrieved when facing Ling Xiao, a mere 3rd level Yin-Yang realm martial artist. He had only defeated one of Ling Xiao's moves in half an hour. He was actually so proud of himself. What was this? Had he always been afraid of Ling Xiao? Was this why he was so happy with such a small achievement? Good. Very good. I wanted to keep you as a dog by my side. Since you don't agree, then die. The Dragon Crown Prince was almost howling. His body started to grow rapidly. Since the start of the battle, he had been in his half-beast form. He had not entered his most powerful state. That was because he felt that there was no need to fight Ling Xiao. His most powerful state was for the White Tiger Storm meat. But today, at this moment, he really couldn't take it anymore. Ling Xiao was simply insulting him. This was unbearable for him. Sky Dragon incarnation. It should be said that Dragon Prince's Sky Dragon avatar was very different from ordinary Sky Dragon avatars. His Sky Dragon incarnation was condensed from the bloodline of the Sky Dragon King. It was even more powerful than the incarnations of ordinary martial artists who possessed the bloodline of the Sky Dragon. The wings of wind and lightning on the slender dragon body were particularly eye-catching. The most surprising thing was that his dragon tail was in the shape of a thunderbird, two-headed. Ling Xiao was stunned for a moment. He had read about the heavenly dragon incarnation in books, but he had never seen such a form before. Then, the wings of wind and lightning flapped in the void. The wind was swirling in the sky, and it was getting bigger and bigger, gradually forming a huge tornado with a diameter of more than 10 meters. This tornado was so terrifying that it swept up the mountain rocks and plants on the ground and threw them into the air. However, this was not enough. The dragon bird at the tail of the heavenly dragon incarnation spat out a bolt of astonishing lightning and fell into the huge tornado. Then thunder and lightning roared in the tornado. The mountain rocks and plants that would have been thrown out were instantly torn into pieces by the terrifying lightning. The terrifying lightning tornado wreaked havoc in the void, tearing and distorting space-time and time again. The martial artists of the Dragon Phoenix Mountain in the distance saw the pitch-black sky as if doomsday had arrived. The killing intent was accompanied by this terrifying lightning tornado, releasing an astonishing power. Even the cultivators of the Water Spirit Temple were forced to retreat several hundred meters again. Feng Ming Wuyang and Master Long Huang also retreated far away, afraid that they would be affected by this terrifying tornado. This guy is really going all out. I wonder how much internal energy he will consume with this move. Feng Ming Wuyang retreated far away and muttered to himself, "This is all forced by Ling Xiao." Master Long Huang shook his head and smiled bitterly. He had never seen the Dragon Prince so angry. He was as violent as he was today. Indeed, the Dragon Prince did not intend to give Ling Xiao any chance. He wanted to tear this hateful guy to pieces and not give him any chance to beg for mercy. He wanted to completely destroy Ling Xiao and let this ignorant guy know that the Water God Temple of the Tianhai Empire was not something that anyone could bully at will. He also wanted Feng Ming Wuyang to see that it was natural for the Water God Temple to step on the head of the Dragon Phoenix Mountain. Feng Ming Wuyang's futile attempt to rely on Ling Xiao to attack the Water God Temple could only be a fool's dream. To tell the truth, Feng Ming Wuyang did not hold Ling Xiao accountable, and instead let Ling Xiao fight with the martial artists of the Water God Temple here. This made the Dragon Prince's stomach full of anger. If it weren't for his strength being inferior to Feng Ming Wuyang, he would have directly killed them and then gone to destroy Ling Xiao. And now, the only thing he could do was to let Feng Ming and Wu Yang understand that all their little tricks were useless. Ling Xiao indifferently looked at the terrifying tornado formed by wind and thunder. Although he was several hundred meters away, he could still feel the terrifying destructive power. If this guy is able to display such powerful strength in the Divine Phoenix continent, then the entire Divine Phoenix capital will probably be easily destroyed by this attack. Although the one standing in front of him was an enemy, Ling Xiao had to admit that his opponent's attack was very strong. This opponent was worthy of him using the Hell Dragon Talisman. Ling Xiao faintly smiled. With a thought, the Hell Dragon Talisman was released from his soul realm. It floated above his head, and then a dragon's roar resounded. Blood Soul Talisman. He actually has a Blood Soul Talisman. Everyone was completely dumbfounded. Even Feng Ming Wuyang was shocked. He was well aware of how precious a Blood Soul Talisman was. Just yesterday, at an auction in the Sin Domain, the lowest quality Frost Talisman had been sold for a sky-high price. It was said that the one who bought it was the Water Spirit Hall's Heavy Water Tower's young master, Tianhai. However, 2 hours ago, Feng Ming Wuyang received news that the Water Spirit Hall's Heavy Water Tower, including Protector Heavy Water, were all killed. The Frost Talisman's whereabouts were unknown. For a Frost Talisman, he actually dared to kill one of the Water Spirit Hall's 2 towers, the Heavy Water Tower. Not to mention the origin of this person, it was enough to see how precious the Blood Soul Talisman was. According to Feng Ming Wuyang's investigation, in the entire White Tiger continent, the only Blood Soul Talisman that had appeared was the Frost Talisman. The appearance of the Hell Dragon Talisman today was the second one. It was obvious that such a precious item was extraordinary. To be honest, the moment they saw the Hell Dragon Talisman, Feng Ming Wuyang's heart was filled with greed. It wasn't that such treasures didn't come from the immortal court continent, but they were too few. To be able to find one was already very lucky. Chapter 1666. Although Feng Ming Wuyang was greedy, he did not plan to snatch it. His reason was simple. Since Ling Xiao dared to take out the Hell Dragon Talisman, he was not afraid of others. Furthermore, although the Blood Spirit Talisman was precious, he did not care about anything below green grade. Because of this, he did not go to Sin Domain's auction. He guessed that many martial artists with similar cultivation as him would not go either. The Cold Ice Talisman was only white grade, and they did not care about it. Of course, the Jade Blood Fire Phoenix Pill was an accident. Many martial artists did not expect that the Jade Blood Fire Phoenix Pill would appear at the end of the auction. When they tried to figure out who had obtained the pill, they found that the Heavenly Demon cult martial artist had been killed, and the pill's whereabouts were unknown. No matter how angry they were, they could not do anything. Thinking about this, Feng Ming Wuyang looked at the blood spirit talisman in Ling Zhao's hand. It should be green-grayed and used green inscriptions. Although it was better than the white cold ice talisman, he did not care about it. At least, he would not become enemies with Ling Zhao because of it. Just as he was thinking, the dragon roar became louder. In the sky, the scarlet sun energy poured into the hell dragon talisman. Terrifying black flames rolled and burned in the hell dragon talisman. The terrifying heat continued to expand. The hell dragon talisman seemed to have transformed into a small black sun. Facing the dragon prince's strongest attack, Ling Zhao did not plan to hold back other than the tyrant martial spirit. A large amount of inner strength and spirit power poured into the hell dragon talisman, and combined with the scarlet sun energy in the sky. The entire sky was filled with a terrifying destructive aura. Huff! The green leaves were ignited by the terrifying heat, and the flames spread in all directions. Seeing this, Feng Ming Wuyang anxiously used martial techniques to avoid the flames. Fortunately, it was only the energy that leaked out, and with his ability he could block it. Otherwise, the terrifying flames would burn the entire mountain, and cause a huge fire in the Dragon Phoenix Mountain. At that time it would be troublesome. The tyrannical destructive aura continued to rise in the air. The water spirit temple's cultivators were all scared witless. Ling Zhao was too scary. He thought he was at his wits' end against the Dragon Crown Prince. He never thought he would be able to release such a terrifying existence. Evil God, sacrifice. Ling Zhao roared and threw the giant demon god into the diabolical dragon talisman. The heat of the immemorial golden crow, the darkness of the primordial heavenly devil, the two types of energy coordinated perfectly with the hell dragon fire. In that instant, the infernal dragon talisman expanded once more. Amidst the terrifying heat, there was an eerie chill. No one was able to sense exactly what kind of flame it was. Was it the heat, or was it cold? However, no matter what it was, everyone could feel that terrifying aura of destruction. Destruction sword intent smelt. Slaughter sword intent smelt. The two terrifying sword intents were also infused into the infernal dragon talisman. The aura of destruction and slaughter began to pervade the entire battlefield. Even the nearby disciples of the Dragon Phoenix Mountain could feel this extremely terrifying aura. Many martial artists who had come to watch the show suddenly stopped when they were nearby. The terrifying willpower prevented them from getting close. They didn't dare to approach him. Dragon Prince's thunderstorm tornado was also filled with terrifying destructive power. The two types of destructive power had yet to collide, but the aura was already entangled in the sky. Dragon Prince stared at the hell dragon talisman above Ling Zhao's head. His expression wasn't good at first. However, after a short moment, an excited smile appeared on Tianlong's face. You said that the evil god wasn't your strongest trump card. Then this blood soul talisman should be? It's indeed stronger than the evil god from before. But so what? I'll destroy your strongest trump card. I'll destroy what you're so proud of. I'll make you despair. Dragon Prince was very confident. That was because he felt that his cultivation was stronger than Ling Zhao's. In addition, he had already entered the heavenly dragon Thunderbird state. Whether it was Yin-Yang Yuan force or soul power, he should be more terrifying than Ling Zhao. In that case, his victory this time was absolute. How could Ling Zhao compare to him? With my body, I'll activate the thunderstorm tornado. Destroy Ling Zhao. You'll know that everything you've done is futile. Dragon Prince roared, and his huge body merged with the wind and thunder tornado. The terrifying tornado released an even more terrifying destructive aura. Then, with unstoppable power, it charged towards Ling Zhao. Facing such a terrifying attack, Ling Zhao couldn't escape at all. The thunderstorm tornado stirred up the surrounding air, causing the surrounding qi to become chaotic. A huge suction force pulled Ling Xiao towards the tornado. Even if he could break free from the suction force, his speed would definitely be reduced by a lot. In that case, he wouldn't be able to escape the opponent's attack. Instead, he would give his back to the opponent. Dragon Prince wasn't a fool. He knew that Ling Xiao's speed was extremely fast. If the thunderstorm tornado couldn't hit Ling Xiao, wouldn't he be an idiot? He dared to pour all his yin-yang yuan force and soul power into the thunderstorm tornado. It was because he knew that Ling Xiao couldn't escape. He could only fight him head-on. But did Ling Xiao need to run? He didn't run. There was no need to run. He just stood there, watching the thunderstorm tornado approach. Suddenly, his lips curled into a smile. Come, life or death will be decided in this attack. Kill. He didn't retreat or dodge. Instead, he activated the Hell Dragon Talisman and charged towards Dragon Prince. His entire body merged into the Hell Dragon Talisman and the terrifying black flames. The terrifying aura was burning everything. The rolling killing intent made countless living beings tremble. Rumble. Finally, the entire barren mountain shook violently with a loud bang that shook the heavens and the earth. The thunderstorm tornado roared and collided with the scorching Hell Dragon Talisman. Lightning, wild wind, flames, destructive aura. The entire top of the barren mountain was in a state of frenzied destruction. The originally lush vegetation on the top of the mountain became barren in an instant. Ling Xiao and Dragon Prince were both involved in this terrifying calamity. Smoke and dust billowed. Energy surged. They couldn't even see their figures clearly. No one knew how the battle was going. In the eyes of the warriors outside, the entire barren mountain peak was completely wrapped in a frenzy of energy turbulence. They could only feel the terrifying destructive aura. They were all trembling in fear, but they didn't know who had won. Boom! Kacha! Chila! All sorts of ear-piercing sounds were constantly released from the energy turbulence. Sometimes it was the roar of lightning. Sometimes it was the roar of flames. Sometimes it was the roar of wind. The energies tore at each other. No one was willing to admit defeat. They were completely entangled together. Chapter 1667. The terrifying energies devoured and attacked each other. The space was constantly distorted. Sometimes it was round, sometimes it was oval. Countless people didn't dare to blink. Is this really a battle between a martial artist at the 6th level of the yin-yang realm and a martial artist at the 3rd level of the yin-yang realm? It's unbelievable. Yes, even a martial artist at the 7th level of the yin-yang realm might not be able to achieve such terrifying destructive power. Those two monsters, both of their attacks were too powerful. They were too terrifying. This time, even Feng Ming and Wu Yang felt incomparably shocked. He had to admit that if he were to face these two attacks, he wouldn't be able to escape unscathed. Ling Xiao and the Dragon Prince faced each other in the terrifying energy turbulence. They didn't have any other thoughts. At this moment, only one of them would die. They could only attack with all their might and completely destroy their opponent without leaving anything behind. Only then could they be completely at ease. Ha ha ha, Ling Xiao, you have no way out. Today, you will definitely die here. But don't worry, the Water God Temple will take care of your heavenly empire. I guarantee that it will become our most loyal dog. Ha 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 ha. The Dragon Prince felt that he had the upper hand, so he became more excited and arrogant. He was very confident that he had already started to plan what to do after killing Ling Xiao. Although he was afraid of the Moon Lady and the demonic liquor sword, he had the Water God Temple behind him. The sect master of the Water God Temple was as powerful as the Moon Lady. As long as he had the support of the sect master, he could completely control the entire heavenly empire. In the future, the resources of the Dragon Phoenix continent could be continuously sent to the Water God Temple. In a few years, the Water God Temple would definitely surpass the Tianhai Saint Academy and become the #1 sect in the Tianhai Empire. At that time, he believed that his cultivation would become even more powerful. Who would dare to be his enemy? Even the emperor of the Tianhai Empire would have to act according to his wishes. This was the benefit of power. Your daydream is really funny. Ling Xiao looked at the dragon prince and smiled. Unfortunately, it's just a daydream. Is it really good for you to be so conceited? Ha ha ha, so what if I am conceited? Have you used all of your yin and yang elemental energy and soul force to maintain the infernal dragon talisman? As for me, I still have the sky dragon incarnation. With the power of the sky dragon incarnation, even if I don't use any yin-yang energy, I can still easily kill you. What do you have to fight me with? The dragon prince laughed arrogantly. As he spoke, the dragon crown prince's sky dragon avatar flew out of the tornado. He pounced on Ling Xiao. In the sky, much of the smoke and dust had finally dispersed. Some of the cultivators with better eyesight and higher cultivation could vaguely see the battle situation in the turbulent flow of energy. Ling Xiao is probably going to lose. He has placed all his hopes on the infernal dragon talisman, while the dragon prince's sky dragon avatar can easily tear his body apart. The one who spoke was Dragon Phoenix Mountain's vice sect leader, Tian Haitsong. Previously, it was mentioned that Dragon Phoenix Mountain was actually divided into two factions. One of them was the forces from the Divine Phoenix Continent and the Heavenly Dragon Continent led by Feng Ming and Wu Yang. This force hoped to accept the geniuses of the Heavenly Dragon Continent and the Divine Phoenix Continent and turn the Dragon Phoenix Mountain into a cultivation base for the geniuses of the two continents. They were called the Foreign Faction. The other faction was led by the Vice Sect Master, Tian Haitsong. They were the native forces of the Tianhai Empire. When the Dragon Phoenix Mountain was first established, these people helped a lot. However, in terms of ideology, they were obviously different from Feng Ming and Wu Yang. They looked down on the cultivators of the Divine Phoenix Continent and the Heavenly Dragon Continent. They hoped to recruit and nurture the native disciples of the White Tiger Continent. Hence, this faction was also called the Native Faction. Tian Haitsong definitely did not like Ling Xiao. He did not like any of the cultivators of the Divine Phoenix Continent and the Heavenly Dragon Continent. Seeing Ling Xiao suppressed by the Dragon Prince, a satisfied smile appeared on his face. He was even certain that Ling Xiao was finished. The cultivators standing beside him nodded in agreement. After all, at present, Ling Xiao was indeed not a match for the Dragon Prince. This was not wrong. However, Ling Xiao's gaze towards the Dragon Crown Prince was filled with mockery. It was as if he was mocking the Dragon Prince's ignorance. His strongest trump card? He could not help but want to laugh. The methods he could use were far more than these. He did not even need to use the Sky Tyrant martial spirit to play this conceited Dragon Prince to death. What's with that look? The Dragon Prince roared angrily. You can tell? I'm looking at you with a mocking gaze. Mocking you, idiot. Ling Xiao said disdainfully, I'm going to dig out your eyes. Let's see if you still have the mood to mock this prince. The Dragon Prince looked at Ling Xiao's gaze and felt very angry. He really did not understand what Ling Xiao was relying on. At this time, he was still vainly trying to contend with him. He was simply courting death. Ling Xiao smiled and did not reply. Instead, he condensed his soul power and poured it into his right eye. His right eye slowly closed. When the Dragon Prince was less than 3 meters away from him, he suddenly opened it. 3-leaf demonic pupils. Soul catcher. The moment his right eye opened, the 3 leaf-like pupils suddenly released a terrifying amount of soul power. Then it directly crashed into the Dragon Prince, who was charging over. At that moment, the Dragon Prince felt his heart tremble. His flying movements suddenly slowed down, and he began to fall down. His eyes also became blurred. 3-leaf demonic pupils, demonic flash. Seizing this opportunity, Ling Xiao's right eye shot out a black light and directly hit the dragon prince's body. A black wound appeared and dark red blood flowed out. Damn it! The injured dragon prince's soul was stimulated by the pain, causing him to wake up from his daze. He angrily roared, "Stinking brat, I did not expect you to have this kind of crooked trick. But this kind of trick is never the right way. With your little soul power, what can you do to me?" The dragon prince angrily roared. The injured area quickly healed, and then he continued to charge at Ling Xiao. "You're dead. Is that so? Why do I feel like you're the one who's dead?" Ling Xiao looked at the dragon prince with disdain. The 3-leaf demonic pupils had taken effect. This meant that the soul power deterrence was absolutely effective against the dragon prince. It was only because the dragon prince was currently in the heavenly dragon incarnation state, so he had a strong resistance against soul power. Therefore, a little pain would cause him to recover. Then what about the soul power that was even stronger than the 3-leaf demonic pupils? Ling Xiao's lips curled into a cold smile, and then he closed his eyes. From his body, a complete soul floated out. Source soul leaving the shell. Possession. Ling Xiao had not relaxed his cultivation of the primordial spirit remnant scroll. Chapter 1668. Whether the primordial spirit remnant scroll had any other uses or not. Just the advantage of increasing one's soul power was enough for Ling Xiao to go all out to cultivate. As the source spirit came out of his body, it directly entered the heavenly dragon incarnation. The invisible and terrifying source spirit entered the heavenly dragon incarnation without any resistance. In that instant, the dragon prince's eyes clearly became sluggish. The shaking of his body also became much smaller. "You fellow, what did you do?" The dragon prince roared in fear. Ling Xiao knew that his source spirit possession could not control the dragon prince's body. After all, this fellow's cultivation was too strong. But the effect of the source spirit possession was to make the other side lose their ability to fight and reveal a flaw. Like this, Ling Xiao would have a chance to win without using the Tyrant martial spirit. "Idiot! I've used up most of my internal strength, but my soul power is still very sufficient." Ling Xiao gave a cold laugh and then opened the Tai Chi eye. Heaven-burning eye. Samadhi, true fire. The Tai Chi eye rotated, and in the sky, a giant eye that looked like it was made of flames appeared. Then, the eyes spat out raging flames and charged at the struggling dragon crown prince. The seal in Ling Xiao's body was released ahead of time. That was because the human king's power had been used up. However, Ling Xiao continued to cultivate according to the direction that the human king had given him. Only by combining what he had learned before with his current battle, in a crucial battle, it would have a special effect. For example, the Samadhi true fire released by the heaven-burning eye. It was one of the divine flames that Ling Xiao had. The might of the divine flame could be imagined. Without the protection of the yin and yang spirit energy, even the heavenly dragon incarnation could not withstand this terrifying burning. In that instant, Tian Haitsong's face slightly changed and his brows tightly knit. He never thought that this Ling Xiao would actually be able to fight back in this kind of situation. This attack, no one expected it. The dragon prince would be miserable. Being burned by the Samadhi true fire, the dragon prince let out a pitiful cry. But this fellow was worthy of being a monster with the heavenly dragon king's bloodline. Even in this kind of situation, he could still fight back. It turned out that his tornado of wind and thunder did not release all of his yin and yang essence force. At this critical moment, the sky dragon incarnation roared and an astonishing aura erupted from its body, dispersing the true Samadhi fire. The true Samadhi fire immediately dissipated. However, Ling Xiao's face was still indifferent, without the slightest hint of surprise. He believed that no matter who it was impossible for them to use their full strength. They would definitely leave something behind. Therefore, from the very beginning, he did not expect his true Samadhi fire to burn the Dragon Prince to death. You blocked the first attack, but can you block the second one? Ling Xiao smiled and softly chanted, "Burning heaven, dark flames of death." The dark flame of death was still one of the 12 godly flames. It was different from the domineering heat of the true Samadhi fire. The death-dark flame was filled with the aura of death and had an extremely strong corrosive effect. When the dark death flames enveloped the Sky Dragon incarnation, the Dragon Prince no longer had any yin and yang energy to resist. At the critical moment, this guy actually bit off his arm and relied on the stimulation of fresh blood to awaken him from the soul power's deterrence. Then he turned and dove into his own tornado. The tornado had been resisting the Hell Dragon Talisman and had not been destroyed. Therefore, to the Dragon Prince, as long as he could hide in the tornado, he was sure that Ling Xiao would not be able to do anything to him. You wish, but do you think I'll give you this chance? Ling Xiao sneered in disdain. A terrifying shadow darted out from behind him and firmly entangled the Dragon Prince. Child of Shadow, bind! After escaping the soul power, the Dragon Prince was instantly bound by the Child of Shadow. The dark flames of death continued to burn on his body. One could see that the tornado was gradually weakening. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Ling Xiao's Hell Dragon Talisman transformed into a Hell Divine Dragon. It opened its huge mouth and swallowed the tornado. The two attacks were originally evenly matched, but because the Dragon Prince's body was bound by Ling Xiao, the tornado collapsed. At this point, the battle could be said to be over. The Dragon Prince had lost all his yin and yang energy, and his soul power was extremely weak. The only thing he could rely on now was the Sky Dragon incarnation's defense. However, under the effects of Ling Xiao's Shadow Child's binding, his defense became increasingly weak. One could hear that the Sky Dragon incarnation was collapsing from the inside. Even the sound of bones breaking could be heard. Ling Xiao, stop! That's the Dragon Prince of Water God Temple. If you kill him, my Dragon Phoenix Mountain will not let you off. At this moment, Zoichi Amami saw that the situation was bad and rushed over with a roar. However, just as he arrived, he was blocked by the crazy energy turbulence. Even if his cultivation was stronger than Ling Xiao, this terrifying energy turbulence was the result of Ling Xiao and the Dragon Prince's combined attacks. Even he couldn't pass through it. Ling Xiao sneered in disdain. He touched his storage ring lightly and pulled out Ice's Fury. Then, green and golden light appeared on his arm as the 200 Sovereign Earth Empress cells released all of their powers. 200 Emperor Heaven Earth power. Ice's Fury. Kill! Actually, this move didn't have any special moves. It was nothing more than Ling Xiao's full Emperor Heaven Earth power combined with Ice's Fury. Even so, it was more than enough to kill the Dragon Prince now. Die, Dragon Prince. No matter how glorious your ancestors' battle achievements were, no matter how powerful your bloodline power or martial soul is, it's useless. Although you're strong, you've wasted this essence. Why don't you just give it to me? Ice's Fury pierced through the Dragon Prince's Sky Dragon incarnation. The terrifying Emperor Heaven-Earth power began to peel off the Sky Dragon incarnation layer by layer. The Dragon Prince's screams could be heard. However, it was useless. At this moment, Ling Xiao did not have the slightest bit of sympathy or pity for him. Hell Dragon Talisman, come. Ling Xiao thought. The Hell Dragon Talisman, which had just swallowed the tornado, turned into a black hell divine dragon and flew over. Swallow him. I don't know what kind of magic treasure this guy has. If I don't crush him, I'm afraid he'll come back to life and take revenge on me. Ling Xiao ordered coldly. The Hell Divine Dragon opened its mouth and swallowed the dying Dragon Prince. Then it turned back into the Hell Dragon Talisman. One could clearly see that the Dragon Prince in the Hell Dragon Talisman was surrounded by layers of tentacle-like black flames and burned continuously. Even though the Dragon Prince was struggling with all his might, his struggles seemed so powerless and weak. There was no meaning. It was just a useless effort. Chapter 16, 69. Don't. I'm willing to be your slave, willing to be loyal to you. Please don't kill me. I don't want to die. The Dragon Prince's miserable voice came from the Hell Dragon Talisman. However, Ling Xiao's expression was still cold, because he had heard such words more than once. Almost every time someone was about to be killed by him, he would always hear similar words. He was tired of it. When these people had the advantage, they couldn't wait to tear him into pieces. But once they lost, they desperately begged for mercy. Truly despicable. The surrounding Water Spirit Hall disciples watched as the Dragon Prince was incinerated by the black flames. His body was gradually refined. Many people had already fainted on the spot. Some others turned around and tried to escape. But how could Ling Xiao let them escape? He came here today to kill everyone from Water Spirit Hall. How could he let a single one go? Three-leaf devil pupil, demon god Bar, Eye of the Divine Tomb, Skeleton General. Along with the release of Soul Force, two powerful summons madly pounced on the Water Spirit Hall disciples. Those who dared to flee were all killed on the spot. Anxi fainted from fright, temporarily preserving her life, but death was unavoidable. When Ling Xiao wasn't killing, he was like a refined scholar. But once he decided to kill, he wouldn't hesitate in the slightest, because the people he killed were people he thought should be killed. These Water Spirit Hall martial artists not only committed evil deeds in the Divine Phoenix Empire, they even tried to kill him. As the Heavenly Dynasty Empire's Heavenly Emperor, the ruler of the Dragon Phoenix continent, those who had died were all his people. He could ignore other people's business, but he definitely couldn't let go of martial artists who dared to kill his people. Otherwise, His Majesty the Heavenly Emperor was really too useless. Everyone looked at this scene in horror. This was too shocking. The pitiful Dragon Prince. Death was one thing, but Ling Xiao actually took his Thunderbird martial soul and merged it into the Hell Dragon Talisman, increasing the power of the Hell Dragon Fire's lightning. He even extracted the Heavenly Dragon King's bloodline. Even more terrifying was that his entire body was completely refined by the Hell Dragon Fire, turning into the power of the Hell Dragon Talisman. This made the Hell Dragon Talisman even stronger. The dignified Dragon Prince of Water Spirit Hall was killed just like that. Not only that, but Ling Xiao could also split his strength to deal with the other martial artists of Water Spirit Hall. This kind of strength was truly shocking. The 7 heroes of Water Spirit Hall. Dragon Prince. These were 8 of the 9 most outstanding young martial artists of Water Spirit Hall. Now, only Water Shensi was left in the Water God Temple, and the one who caused these geniuses to die, Ling Dragon God. Almost every death testy after a long time, Ling Xiao took a deep breath and put away the Hell Dragon Talisman. He looked coldly at the dead Water Spirit Hall cultivators and recalled the Skeleton General and Demon God Bar. Even though he was a little tired, he wouldn't back down if anyone wanted to fight. Are you going to try? Ling Xiao slowly looked at Tian Haizong, his cold eyes filled with madness. Tian Haizong clenched his teeth, but shook his head. I didn't let you kill Dragon Prince for your own good. But since you don't appreciate it, why should I? Let's go. Dragon Prince was already dead. Even if he killed Ling Xiao, Water Spirit Hall wouldn't thank him. Tian Haizong wasn't stupid. He knew that Ling Xiao wasn't someone to be trifled with. Water Spirit Hall wasn't a righteous place either. Young hero Ling, why don't you return to Dragon Phoenix Mountain to rest? You don't need to think about other things. Rest first. At this time, Feng Ming and Wu Yang walked over and looked at Ling Xiao. Thank you, Senior. Ling Xiao had indeed exhausted himself in this battle. He really needed to find a place to rest. Currently, The safest place in the entire White Tiger continent was Dragon Phoenix Mountain. He could also see that Feng Ming and Wu Yang wanted to befriend him. Since that was the case, why should he keep them at a distance? Apart from enemies, people naturally needed friends. From Sky Dragon Continent to Divine Phoenix Continent, Ling Xiao had never lacked friends. It was the same in White Tiger Continent. No need to thank me. Your talent really surprised this old man. Lord Long Huang, I'll have to trouble you to take care of young Hero Ling. Water Spirit Hall will probably come looking for trouble. I'll think of a way to stop them. Feng Ming and Wu Yang praised Ling Xiao, then instructed Lord Long Huang. Don't worry, Sect Master. Leave everything to me. Lord Long Huang was really shocked by Ling Xiao's terrifying strength. Originally, he was very optimistic about Ling Xiao. Now, it wasn't just optimism, it was worship. Complete and utter worship. Young Hero Ling, come with me. Lord Long Huang glanced at Ling Xiao. Thank you, Senior. Ling Xiao was very tired from the battle and needed to find a place to rest. At the same time, he also benefited a lot and needed a place to cultivate. He estimated that as long as he could completely refine the Dragon Crown Prince's power, it shouldn't be difficult to break through to the third level of the Yin Yang realm. He never dared to slack off when it came to cultivation. He might have killed the #1 elite and the Dragon Crown Prince today. But if Tian Haizong really wanted to make a move, he would probably choose to escape in the end. Tian Haizong's cultivation was on par with Feng Ming and Wu Yang. He wasn't an opponent he could deal with. Even if he was in peak condition, he wouldn't be able to do it, let alone now that he was injured. Ling Xiao arranged a separate courtyard for Lord Long Huang, and he personally guarded the door. Ling Xiao didn't stand on ceremony at all. He opened the window and sat cross-legged in the room. He allowed the Scarlet Sun energy to continuously enter the room. In the depths of his soul realm, the Hell Dragon Talisman had already refined the Dragon Crown Prince's body until only a ball of wind with lightning was left. The rest was all absorbed by the Hell Dragon Talisman, and this ball of wind with lightning was the essence of the essence. Ling Xiao wanted to use it to raise his cultivation. In Ling Xiao's body, his blood turned greenish gold as if it had fused with the power of the Heaven Earth Queen. It seeped into the Scarlet Sun energy and emitted a strange light, causing Ling Xiao's body to become even stronger. A large amount of the Dragon Crown Prince's life essence and wind and lightning essence fused into the 200 Heaven Earth Queen cells in his body. Ling Xiao could feel that the breakthrough he had been waiting for was about to arrive. Although he closed his eyes, the surrounding heaven and earth spirit chi fused with the Scarlet Sun energy and crazily surged into his body. It actually formed a terrifying energy vortex outside the room, crazily sweeping the heaven and earth spirit chi in the Dragon Phoenix Mountain. When the spirit chi flew past, the withered flowers bloomed. The originally dying insect suddenly became alive and kicking. Chapter 1670. The terrifying energy merged into a long river and entered Ling Xiao's body. Then it was quickly refined and merged with the Dragon Prince's life essence and origin power of wind and lightning. At this moment, there were many exquisite spiritual stones and demonic beast crystal cores in front of Ling Xiao. The spiritual stones were all middle-grade spiritual stones. The weakest of the demonic beast crystal cores was at the first level of the Yin Yang realm. These crystal cores were obtained by Ling Xiao from the demonic beasts that he had killed along the way from the Sin domain. Each and every one of these demonic beast cores exuded an incomparably powerful vitality. They were emitting a strange glow. Ling Xiao suddenly opened his eyes. He waved his hand, and a middle-grade spiritual stone and a first-level Yin-Yang realm demonic beast crystal core were sucked into his mouth at the same time. Then he swallowed them. These two crystals directly entered the Sky Tyrant martial spirit, and in an instant they were refined into pure elemental energy. If other martial artists saw him swallowing the middle grade spiritual stone and demonic beast crystal core, they would be shocked. The middle grade spiritual stone was fine. Although the energy was a little mixed, he could slowly refine it as long as he was careful. However, the power of the demonic beast crystal core was extremely complicated and terrifying. Even martial artists who were stronger than Ling Xiao would not dare to do such a thing, because if they were not careful, they might even lose their lives. In the best-case scenario, their cultivation would be destroyed. In the worst-case scenario, they would bleed from their 7 orifices or even be smashed into pieces. It was not as if such a thing had never happened among martial artists before. The best way for martial artists to use the demonic beast crystal cores was to refine them into elixirs before consuming them. Ling Xiao had done this in the past. After all, he was a pharmacist and knew how to refine elixirs. After refining them into elixirs, the demonic aura of the demonic beast crystal cores would be assimilated and the effects of the elixirs would increase. However, at this moment, Ling Xiao was in a hurry to use the demonic beast crystal cores and did not care so much. Anyway, he would not be killed. The Sky Tyrant martial soul had the terrifying ability to contain everything. No matter what entered it, it would be impossible for it to come out intact unless Ling Xiao was willing to do so. The Hell Dragon talisman flew into the Sky Tyrant martial spirit from his soul realm. After that, the Hell Dragon fire was released to help burn the demonic beast's crystal core. After a short while, the demonic beast's crystal core could be directly converted into essence energy. Although this was a bit of a waste, what Ling Xiao lacked now was time, not these demonic beast cores. If it was a waste, then so be it. He didn't care. Mid-grade spirit stones. One after another, demonic beast cores appeared. Large amounts of infernal dragon fire surged into the infernal dragon talisman. Combined with the power of the heavens, these things were refined in an instant. I've accumulated enough energy. I can try to break through now. Ling Xiao thought to himself. Then he stopped swallowing the spirit stones and demonic beast cores. His hands moved in front of him, forming a strange Tai Chi pattern. At the same time, the energy in his body merged into one and transformed into a terrifying energy dragon. It charged towards the barrier of the peak of the 3rd level of the Yin-Yang realm. At this moment, the entire room seemed to have been completely isolated, becoming an independent space of the Dragon Phoenix Mountain. Looking from the outside, the room looked like it was wrapped up by a terrifying dragon coiling around it. As for the divine dragon, it was actually an image condensed from energy. This scene was truly shocking. Swoosh! Ling Xiao suddenly dashed out of the room. He opened his wings of light and flew into the distance. Esteemed Master Long Huang was stunned. He then shook his head, helplessly. He could understand Ling Xiao's actions. He definitely couldn't trust them completely, so he planned to find a safer place to break through. Just as esteemed Master Long Huang thought, Ling Xiao couldn't completely trust Feng Ming Wuyang and him. Just in case, it was best to find a more secluded and safe place. After ascending into the clouds, the wings of light absorbed the power of the red sun. Suddenly, they flickered and disappeared from the sky above the Dragon Phoenix Mountain. At lightning speed, Ling Xiao flew for about an hour and arrived at the pitch-black Demon Lake in the Sin Domain. The Demon Lake occupied a large area and was located in the Sin Domain. It was filled with an evil and terrifying aura. Very few martial artists dared to approach this place. It was said that there were terrifying, vengeful spirits in the lake. However, to Ling Xiao, such a place was an extremely good place to cultivate. He removed the wings of light and opened up the wings of darkness. Then he entered the state of Hell Physique. Only then did he jump into the Demon Lake. Hell Physique could allow him to maintain the aura of a dead person for 2 hours. It should be able to avoid the attacks of the vengeful spirits. He estimated that his cultivation would definitely not exceed 2 hours. Although this calculation might not be that precise, it was definitely not off by much. Entering the bottom of the lake, Ling Xiao sat down cross-legged. He could see that there were huge ghost fish swimming nearby. However, after smelling his scent, they avoided him. There shouldn't be any martial artists coming here. I can cultivate in peace. Ling Xiao took a deep breath and closed his eyes. In the demon lake, that terrifying and evil aura continuously poured into his body. He actually did not reject it. The energy in his body began to attack the barrier of cultivation. Again and again, the impact caused the demon lake to tremble. This commotion was indeed quite big. As expected, the higher the cultivation, the harder it is to break through. With my current accumulation of energy, breaking through should be a piece of cake. However, it's still so difficult, let alone in the future. Ling Xiao sighed in his heart. However, he did not stop his actions. No matter how difficult it was, one could not stop on the path of martial arts. Otherwise, all their previous efforts would be wasted. Ling Xiao had seen too many tragedies of martial artists who lived in seclusion and gave up on the path of martial arts. One could give up on hatred and wash one's hands. However, others would not. While one was stagnating, others would be cultivating like crazy. When he thought of that, Ling Xiao's motivation to cultivate was even greater. Close to 2 hours later, a dragon's roar rang out from his mouth, and the water around him was sent flying. It actually formed a vacuum of water. Early stage of yin-yang realm. I've finally broken through. Ling Xiao laughed heartily. It was not easy to reach this step. He had relied on the energy he obtained from killing the Dragon Crown Prince and the energy he obtained from killing the heavenly demon cultivators outside the Eternal Joy Celestial Island, coupled with a large number of medial-grade spirit stones and demonic beast crystal cores. He had today's breakthrough. I should use this opportunity to refine the Frost Talisman. Ling Xiao had always felt that the Frost Talisman was not strong enough and was too eye-catching. If others saw him using the Frost Talisman, they would know that he killed the Heavy Water Towers people. Then they would think that he had the Jade Blood Fire Phoenix Pill. The Jade Blood Fire Phoenix Pill was different from the Frost Talisman. It could attract terrifying experts. Even rebirth realm experts might appear. If Xiao Chen wanted to modify the Frost Talisman and change the inscription's attribute had to match the Frost Talisman's attribute. It should be of the dark attribute. Chapter 16, 71. As for how to modify the Frost Talisman. In fact, Ling Xiao already had a backup plan, which was the 18 Hell Talisman. The Yin-Yang realm had 18 levels of hell. Ling Xiao felt that it would be a waste if he only used the 18 levels of hell to train his soul and communicate with Yin and Yang. Each of the 18 levels of hell had a special effect. If he could make a Blood Soul Talisman, it wouldn't be any worse than the Hell Dragon Talisman. As for the Hell Dragon Talisman, he also had an idea, which was to make a Primordial Dragon Talisman in Sin City. The Primordial Hell Dragon was only one of them. He also wanted to get his hands on the other primordial mystical dragons and smelt them. Ling Xiao already had the Primordial 5 Elements Dragon, Primordial Natural Dragon, and Primordial Golden Dragon King, but he lacked the inscriptions. Next, he would work hard to find and perfect his Primordial Dragon Talisman. Just the Hell Dragon alone wouldn't be enough to satisfy his needs. Of course, that was for the future. Right now, he needed to modify the Frost Talisman into the 18 Hell Talisman. After all, he had already obtained the Hell inscriptions before. Like the mystical dragon inscriptions, they were green in color. Thinking of this, he took out the Frost Talisman. The lake water instantly froze, and the surrounding demons were also frozen inside. This cold air is really good. It's a pity to waste it. I can save it first and use it in the future. Ling Xiao stored the cold air in the depths of the Frost Talisman, and then inserted the Hell inscriptions. Forging, Hell of Tongue Ripping. The first stage of the 18 Hell Talismans was to create the Hell of Tongue Ripping. As the inscriptions were inserted, a gate of hell appeared above Ling Xiao's head. Not long after, Ling Xiao actually visualized a gate of hell that was almost exactly the same. Merge. The visualized gate of hell was merged into the 18 Hell Talisman. Then ghostly energy filled the air, and ghosts wailed and howled. One could clearly see that the original Frost Talisman had completely changed. In the green-grayed 18 Hell Talisman, one could clearly see a gate of hell with the words Hell of Tongue Ripping written on it. When used, it could summon ghosts that could drag martial artists into it and turn them into ghost servants. It's done! As the 18 Hell Talisman formed, Ling Xiao let out a sigh of relief. This thing could finally be used openly. 2 blood soul symbols required a large amount of soul power to maintain. There weren't many people who could do this. Even for that flying kite, even if she had many blood soul talismans, if she really used them, she could only use one at a time. Ling Xiao, on the other hand, could use 2 at the same time. However, considering the terrifying consumption, he would naturally choose the more suitable blood soul talisman for normal battles. If we don't go back now, I'm afraid that Lord Long Huang will get anxious from waiting. Ling Xiao calculated that he had already spent a day and a night cultivating to modify the Frost Talisman. He didn't know if his friends from the Dragon Phoenix continent had already rushed over to the White Tiger continent, but he still had to go back and greet esteemed Dragon Phoenix. No matter what, Lord Long Huang had treated him well, and he had to repay his kindness. When Ling Xiao rushed back to the Dragon Phoenix Mountain, he discovered that the martial artists who were preparing to head to the Tianhai Empire's capital city, Tianhai City, had all arrived. Danfeng Mou, Zhu Xiaocong Long Qin, Feng Minglian, Jiluoyu, Cold Plum, plus him Ling Xiao. This was a total of 8 people, all from the Dragon Phoenix continent's Heavenly Dynasty Empire. There were also 2 other people who emitted a special aura belonging to the sea race. One could sense it with a sniff. Ling Xiao didn't know these 2 people, but he could feel that they weren't friendly towards Ling Xiao. Other than the 10 martial artists from the Dragon Phoenix continent, there were 4 other young elites from the Dragon Phoenix Mountain. These 4 people, Ling Xiao still didn't know them. However, Feng Ming and Wu Yang still introduced them to everyone. At the very least, Ling Xiao knew their names: Feng Minjing, Feng Jiu, Tian Hailan, and Feng Mou. Feng Minjing and Feng Jiu seemed to be very friendly towards Ling Xiao and the others because of Feng Ming and Wu Yang. At the very least, they even greeted them. Tian Hailan and Feng Mou were obviously Tian Heizeng's people. They looked at Ling Xiao and the martial artists from the Dragon Phoenix continent with disdain. Humph. Do you really think it's useful to have more people? Why didn't your Dragon Phoenix continent send all the young martial artists above the Yinyang realm? Tian Hailan snorted and looked at Ling Xiao and the others. Their Dragon Phoenix mountain only sent 4 people, but the Dragon Phoenix continent sent 10. 8 of them were even martial artists from the Heavenly Dynasty Empire. This made him somewhat indignant. Whether it's useful or not, we'll see at the White Tiger Storm meet. It's not about who has the loudest voice and who is powerful. Dan Feng said indifferently. However, Ling Xiao's attitude was even more radical. He looked at Tian Hailan coldly. This person's cultivation wasn't weak, but he wasn't as powerful as the #1 hero, let alone the Dragon Crown Prince. If you wanted to kill him, it would be a piece of cake. Why don't we try and see if you're more powerful than the Dragon Crown Prince? Ling Xiao stared at Tian Hailan with disdain and said provocatively. Tian Hailan opened his mouth, his face flushed red, but in the end, he was unable to say anything. He didn't dare. He was present when Ling Xiao killed the Dragon Crown Prince. That terrifying scene was still fresh in his mind. Since you don't dare to fight, then shut your mouth. No one will treat you as a mute. Ling Xiao shouted coldly. Tian Hailan lowered his head and didn't dare to say anything. Feng Ming and Wu Yong laughed. Ha ha ha! We're all outstanding martial artists representing the Tianhai Empire at the White Tiger Storm meet. Let's not fight among ourselves at this time. Young hero Ling, you just came back. If you need some time to prepare, I can give you some time. No need. I'll go with you. Ling Xiao had already accomplished half of his goal in coming to the White Tiger continent, which was to kill the Dragon Crown Prince and the others. His other goal was to participate in the White Tiger Storm meet and see the young talents of the White Tiger continent. He wasn't someone who looked down on everyone. The White Tiger Storm meet was an opportunity for him to train. He definitely wouldn't miss it. All right, in that case, let's set off. Feng Ming and Wu Yang took out a whistle and blew it. 5 phoenixes flew through the air. The journey to the Heavenly Sea City is rather long. Although everyone can fly, it is unavoidably inconvenient. These 5 phoenixes are all meticulously nurtured by our Dragon Phoenix Mountain. Each one can be ridden by at most 4 people. Feng Ming Wu Yang smiled and said, it can also make everyone's journey more comfortable. Back in the Divine Phoenix continent, Ling Xiao was already used to many martial artists riding on demonic beasts to travel and even fight, even though that wasn't common enough. On the White Tiger continent, this was a common sight. The 5 phoenixes of Dragon Phoenix Mountain were all Yin-Yang realm demonic beasts. They were faster and had longer endurance than most Yin-Yang realm martial artists. Their weakness was that they weren't strong in combat. After all, the focus was on speed and endurance. There were gains and losses. In any case, Dragon Phoenix Mountain didn't expect them to fight. Chapter 1672. Feng Ming Wu Yang led the team this time. He, Dragon Phoenix Mountain's Feng Minging, and Feng Jiu jumped onto one of the phoenix birds. The rest also jumped onto their respective phoenix birds. Basically, 5 phoenixes just happened to be able to carry 3 people each. A total of 15 people, just nice. But what gave Ling Xiao a headache was that Feng Ming, Lian, Jiluyu, and Cold Plum all wanted to go with him. Fortunately, this phoenix bird could carry 4 people. Otherwise, it would really be troublesome. He also couldn't go and refuse these 3 girls' warm intentions. Anyway, it wasn't a big deal. Big Brother Ling, when we go to Sky Sea City, I'll bring you around. I basically toured the entire White Tiger continent with my father. Sky Sea City is no exception. There are many fun places. Ji Luoyu's injuries were already healed at this time. Furthermore, her divine essence was restrained. Clearly, her cultivation had improved greatly. Even Ling Xiao didn't dare to underestimate her. Then I have to thank you. Our Heavenly Dynasty Empire's martial artists are basically all newcomers. You have to be a good host. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Ji Luoyu frowned slightly. Of course. She wanted to be alone with Ling Xiao. But since Ling Xiao said so, she also couldn't refuse. After all, everyone was old acquaintances. This kind of thing of valuing a lover over a friend. Ji Luoyu was really a little embarrassed. Don't worry, leave it to me. Ji Luoyu smiled, as beautiful as a peach, making the other young elites involuntarily stunned for a moment, especially the few Dragon Phoenix Mountain and Sea Race martial artists. They were truly endlessly jealous. Of the 15 people on this trip, only 3 were women, but they all stayed together with Ling Xiao. It was impossible to say that they weren't jealous. The phoenix soared into the air like a sharp arrow piercing through the void as it sped forward at an accelerated speed. While flying, horrifying air currents bombarded everyone continuously. However, this kind of airflow was nothing to a yin-yang realm martial artist. Almost everyone had elemental energy to protect their bodies, and the air current flowed along their bodies to the side. The martial artists who came from the Dragon Phoenix continent, including Ling Xiao, were all looking down at the great rivers and mountains below the clouds. They were very excited. Coming to the White Tiger continent from the Dragon Phoenix continent was a pleasant surprise for these people. After all, he had been to the White Tiger continent before. However, it was the first time Long Chen and the rest had come to this place. Previously, when they were passing through Sin Domain, because Dan Feng led the way, nothing happened. Although it was safe, it was somewhat boring. At this moment, sitting on the Phoenix and sensing the completely different aura of the White Tiger continent and the Dragon Phoenix continent, it would be unrealistic to say that he wasn't nervous or excited. Ling Xiao was also deeply moved. From the day he entered Tianfeng City's Ling family, he swore to become the strongest martial artist. This was something that had not changed even now, even though he had tasted many difficulties and even failed in the process. But he had persevered until today. This road was very difficult to walk, but every time he cleared the obstacles and crossed the difficulties, it would always give him a strong sense of accomplishment. Perhaps in the future, he would not easily step into the Dragon Phoenix continent again. If that day really came, he would probably trample the White Tiger continent and become the overlord of the White Tiger continent. His ambition was greater than most martial artists. Other martial artists might just want to walk out of the continent they were in and see what the outside world was like. Or maybe they just wanted to pursue the endless peak of martial arts. But Ling Xiao did not only have these dreams. He even swore a great ambition to reunite the 13 continents of the mystic world as one, to dominate the White Tiger continent. This White Tiger storm meet was only the first step. He wanted to see his position among the young martial artists, recognize the reality, and then work harder to fight, just like everything he had done in the Divine Phoenix continent. It was just that this road, the further he went, the more difficult it would be. Now, in terms of martial arts, he was already a yin-yang realm powerhouse who could communicate with yin and yang. He had achieved what he did not dare to imagine before and soared in the sky. There was an even stronger direction on this road, and there was almost no end to it. Any one of the experts from the primordial era could easily crush him to death in the present. On the road to domination, he had already unified the Sky Dragon continent and the Divine Phoenix continent. Next, he wanted to dominate the stronger and more dangerous White Tiger continent. Feng Minglian, Jiluoyu, and Cold Plum all looked at Ling Xiao. From Ling Xiao's deep eyes, they seemed to see the endless ambition in this 17-year-old youth's chest. How far did his vision reach? How great was his ambition? What was his ultimate goal? The unconventional Ling Xiao had an extremely warm and gentle side when it came to his own people. The three of them had felt this before. It was also because of this that they could not forget Ling Xiao. Although Ling Xiao had already decided on the Moon Maiden, this did not stop them from pursuing Ling Xiao's footsteps. And this Ling Xiao also had a domineering and cold side. Almost no one could stop or persuade him once he had decided on something. Some people said that he was the benevolent heavenly emperor, while others said that he was the tyrant demon emperor. However, to the three of them, Ling Xiao had never changed. He only had one principle, and that was to act according to his heart, regardless of whether it was good or evil. This was because he had been bullied since he was young and had seen through the hypocrisy of this world. What truth, kindness, and beauty were worthless in his eyes. Whoever treated him well was a good person. Whoever did not treat him well was an enemy. It was that simple. Be careful. We will pass by the snowy plains of the White Tiger continent. Based on the Phoenix's speed, it will last for about 2 hours. During this time, there will be terrifying cold winds. Martial artists below the 3rd level of the yin-yang realm had better prepare for defense in advance. Otherwise, you will be injured. Feng Ming Wuyang's voice suddenly rang out and called the 3 girls back from their dazed state of mind. The 3 of you can continue to rest. Don't mind it. Ling Xiao's voice rang out. Haha, that's great. Thank you, Big Brother Ling. Although the 3 girls' cultivations were not weak, it was the first time Feng Minglian and Cold Plum had stepped into the snowy plains, so they were naturally nervous. Ji Guiyu, on the other hand, understood how terrifying the astral winds were, and looked extremely nervous. That was why Ling Xiao said that, since he allowed the 3 girls to ride the phoenix with him, he should protect them well. Ling Xiao flew in front of the phoenix, and in the middle of the group. He could already see the snowy plains in the distance. When he was 1,000 meters away, he could already feel the bone-chilling cold. However, not only was Ling Xiao not afraid, he even revealed a smile. This cold air was perfect for tempering the 18 hell talismans and his mystic world body. The mystic world body was a body tempering technique. The harsher the environment, the better the tempering of the mystic world body. It was an excellent opportunity to temper his body with the help of the cold air. Chapter 16, 73. Ling Xiao had just broken through to the 4th level of the Yin-Yang realm, but he still had 400 Imperial Heaven Earth Queen cells. He did not awaken any new cells. When he was at the 3rd level of the Yin-Yang realm, he had already awakened 400 Imperial Heaven Earth Queen cells. However, he had only used 200 Imperial Heaven Earth Queen cells at most in the recent battle. It was because he did not want to expose his abilities completely. His mystic world body was his new trump card. He had to hide it so that his enemies would not be able to figure it out. Now he wanted to continue awakening the 400 Imperial Heaven Earth Queen cells in his body so that he could awaken 500 of them. That way, he would not need to use his inner strength or soul power when facing a martial artist at the 5th level of the Yin-Yang realm. He only needed to punch to kill his opponent. 18 Hell Talisman. With a thought from Ling Xiao, a blood soul talisman broke through the air and enveloped the entire phoenix. At the same time, the phoenix happened to fly into the sky above the snowfield. Terrifying cold air kept attacking. However, as long as it got close to the 18 Hell Talisman, it would be absorbed and refined. The energy entered Ling Xiao's body through the blood soul talisman and started refining Ling Xiao's mystic world body. The 3 girls sat there. Not only did they not feel any cold air, but they also could not feel any airflow. It was as if they were in a room. Feng Ming and Wu Yang were shocked when they saw that. Ling Xiao, this fellow, actually had 2 different blood soul talismans. Although they were both of green quality, wasn't this fellow's luck a little too good? Did he really have some kind of connection with the Immortal Court? Feng Ming and Wu Yang could not help but think so. After all, something like the blood soul talisman was not easy to obtain. He shook his head to get rid of the wild thoughts in his mind and looked at the other martial artists. Only a few people were completely unafraid in the face of the terrifying cold wind. They even maintained the same sitting posture as before, as if the cold wind posed no threat to them. However, most of the martial artists had to think of all sorts of ways to reduce the wind's disturbance. For example, Long Qin had already entered his half-dragon form, relying on the dragon clan's characteristic of having thick skin and flesh. He was completely disdainful of this astral wind. There were also martial artists who released large amounts of yin and yang essence force to resist the cold astral winds. It seemed a little strenuous, but at least they didn't make a fool of themselves. Haha, that Ling Xiao is really a piece of trash. Facing this kind of astral wind, he actually still has to rely on the power of the blood soul talisman. Tian Hailan, who had been suppressing his anger for a long time, looked at Ling Xiao and said disdainfully, "I really don't understand how he beat the Dragon Crown Prince." "Shoo, keep your voice down. That fellow isn't someone to be trifled with. If you anger him, he'll really annihilate you." A sea species warrior sitting on the same phoenix said with a smile. Although these words were persuasion, it was obvious that they were adding fuel to the fire and instigating them. Tian Hailan, that idiot, looked at Ling Xiao with eagerness. "Wind, witch, have the phoenix approach Ling Xiao." Tian Hailan said, "That's not good. Your sect master is watching. Besides, that Ling Xiao isn't simple. You'll be at a disadvantage if you do this." The sea species warrior continued to add fuel to the fire. It seemed to be persuasion, But in fact, they were saying that Tian Hailan was not as good as Ling Xiao and did not dare to make a move. Bullsh *T, get closer. Tian Hailan was obviously the kind of idiot who was easily provoked. Under the provocation of the sea species warrior, he directly fell for it. The wind which shaman controlled their phoenix to approach soaring cloud. Tian Hailan stood up and circulated a ball of yin and yang essence force in his hand. His body was full of killing intent. In the distance, Feng Ming and Wu Yang frowned. They wanted to stop him, but found that the three women on the phoenix that Ling Xiao was on stood up almost at the same time. Tian Hailan looked coldly at Ling Xiao, his face gloomy, but he still didn't make a move. Whether it was Cold Plum, Feng Ming Lian, or Ji Luoyu, they were not embroidered pillows. Each of them could make Tian Hailan suffer. Cold, sweat flowed down his forehead. At this time he was in a difficult position. He couldn't make a move, nor could he not make a move. He was in a deadlock. Tian Hailan, go back! At this time, Feng Ming and Wu Yang's voice also sounded. Tian Hailan suddenly felt as if he had been pardoned. He really didn't expect that the pressure that the three delicate girls brought to him was not inferior to that of Ling Xiao at all. Fortunately, Feng Ming and Wu Yang's order gave him a way out. After all, he still had to listen to the sect master's order. The sea species warrior on the same phoenix as Tian Hailan did not laugh at him. Instead, he stared at the three girls. He originally wanted to provoke Tian Hailan to find out more about Ling Xiao's background. However, he lost on the swings, but gained on the swings. It made him confirm that the three women around Ling Xiao were all powerful. Feng Mo manipulated the phoenix to stay away from Ling Xiao. Tian Hailan sat there and did not say a word. Although he was extremely depressed, he could not vent it. He was really scared just now. The three girls sat back down and started chatting happily as if nothing had happened. They knew very well that even if they did not stand up, Tian Hailan would not be able to hurt Ling Xiao at all. But since they were here, they could not let anyone disturb Ling Xiao's cultivation. This was their simplest idea. 2 hours later, the phoenix crossed the snowy plains. Ling Xiao also slowly opened his eyes. His two sharp eyes looked directly at Tian Hailan. Die! Spitting out a word coldly, Ling Xiao suddenly moved from his phoenix to near Tian Hailan. Without any hesitation, Ling Xiao directly chopped off Tian Hailan's head. Tian Hailan did not react until the moment of his death. From the moment you tried to kill me, you were destined to die, Ling Xiao said coldly. Then he looked at the sea species warrior and said, "You better watch your mouth. I will spare your life this time. Next time, you will go back to the sea to feed the turtles." Cold, domineering. He killed without hesitation. Unlike Tian Hailan's hesitation, Ling Xiao never showed mercy to those who tried to kill him. Sigh, young hero Ling, why do you have to do this? Although he wanted to kill you, he did not do it. Feng Ming Wu Yang sighed. Tian Hailan was Tian Heizang's man, not his man. He even often went against him in Dragon Phoenix Mountain. But after all, he was the sect leader of Dragon Phoenix Mountain, and Tian Hailan was a disciple of Dragon Phoenix Mountain. It was not good to keep silent. "Senior, I prefer to strike, first to gain the upper hand. Today he gave up killing me out of fear. But next time, if I am injured, he will definitely take advantage of the situation and kill me. I, Ling Xiao, will not let such a threat go." Ling Xiao said indifferently, "Also, thank you for calling out to him just now. Otherwise, my 3 confidants would have their hands stained with blood." His words seemed to be saying that he had done something very insignificant. Chapter 1674. Seeing how Ling Xiao killed Tian Hailan in an instant. Everyone sighed. The martial artists of the Heavenly Empire were not surprised. They knew Ling Xiao's temper and were not surprised to see Tian Hailan killed. But the Dragon Phoenix Mountain and Sea Clan's martial artists were shocked. Ling Xiao was still so arrogant in the presence of Feng Ming and Wu Yang. not giving the other party any face at all. This guy was really like the rumors, doing things his own way. A few people secretly thought, it's better not to provoke this person in the future. Even if there's a grudge, we can't do it openly. Otherwise, we won't be able to take revenge and get killed instead. It'll be embarrassing if we end up like Tian Hailan. We're almost at Sky Sea City. At this moment, Ji Luoyu's voice sounded, waking everyone up from their shock. Less than 10 miles away from the snowy plains, there was a huge city. The area it occupied was about 10 times the size of the former Divine Phoenix Empire's capital. The huge city had a huge number of martial artists. None of the White Tiger continent's 4 great empires were pushovers. 10 miles was just a matter of seconds. Because Sky Sea City was also protected by a formation, flying in the air was definitely not allowed. So when they arrived near Sky Sea City, Feng Ming and Wu Yang controlled the Phoenix to land. Everyone, pay attention. Experts are as common as clouds in the Sky Sea City. Although you are all genius martial artists from the Dragon Phoenix continent and the Dragon Phoenix mountain, you still have to be careful. You must not act recklessly. Otherwise, your lives might be in danger, and even I won't be able to save you. When the Phoenix landed, Feng Ming and Wu Yang specially warned, young hero Ling, this isn't the Divine Phoenix Empire's capital. I'm afraid you need to restrain yourself. Feng Ming and Wu Yang specially added to Ling Xiao, Senior, I'm not the kind of person who likes to cause trouble. Of course, if others provoke me, then it's a different story. Ling Xiao said indifferently, I'm talking about this. Sky Sea City's martial artists are more arrogant and might offend you unintentionally. I hope you can restrain your temper. After all, we're here to participate in the White Tiger meet, not to cause trouble. Feng Ming and Wu Yang smiled bitterly. I'll try my best. Ling Xiao said casually, if it was just a battle of words, Ling Xiao wouldn't care. After all, he had seen this kind of thing many times. However, if someone were to touch his reverse scale, not to mention the Phoenix Cry dance, no one in this world would be able to persuade him. Feng Ming and Wu Yang sighed and didn't say anything. He was well aware of Ling Xiao's temper, so there was no point in saying more. The Phoenix quickly descended and stopped about a few hundred meters away from the Heaven Sea City. Feng Ming and Wu Yang brought everyone to the city gate and showed their proof of entry. They didn't encounter any obstructions and smoothly arrived in the city. This time, the Tianhai Empire will not only have martial artists from the Dragon Phoenix continent participating in the White Tiger meet. There will be even more martial artists from the Tianhai Empire. The 4 great empires and the Jingyi school would each send 50 disciples to participate. This was especially true for the disciples of the Tianhai Sacred Academy and the royal family. All of them were absolute elites. At that time, we'll all be staying in the outstanding pavilion, so it's inevitable that there'll be some friction. Just bear with it if you can. Feng Ming and Wu Yang reminded again. He was still worried that someone would cause trouble. After all, geniuses had bad tempers. If they came to the Heaven Sea City and encountered something that didn't go their way, they would definitely flip out. If he couldn't remind them, anything could happen next. In other words, our Dragon Phoenix continent has 10 people, your Dragon Phoenix mountain has 4, and the rest are all martial artists from the Tianhai Empire? MOU asked. Actually, our Dragon Phoenix mountain and Miss Jiluoyu can't be considered martial artists from the Dragon Phoenix continent. Your Dragon Phoenix continent only gave a total of 5 spots. Feng Ming and Wu Yang sighed. They felt that there were some things that had to be said. The remaining 45 spots all belong to the Tianhai Empire. So even though so many of you have come, unfortunately, not all of you can participate in the competition. How will the final spots be determined? Ling Xiao asked. This old man isn't too sure. The selection of spots is different every year, but I have to remind you of something. Almost every year, there will be a large number of martial artists who die inexplicably in the Heaven Sea City. Of course, in the past, there were basically no martial artists from the Divine Phoenix continent and the Sky Dragon continent in the White Tiger meat. Even if there were, they would have come from our Dragon Phoenix mountain. Feng Ming and Wu Yang replied. Hearing this, a cold light flashed in Ling Xiao's eyes. He then nodded and said, "Thank you, Senior. I understand." He had roughly guessed it. Those martial artists who died or left inexplicably were probably the so-called eliminated ones. However, this kind of elimination wasn't done in public. Everything was done in secret. The Tianhai Empire obviously acquiesced to this kind of elimination. Perhaps in their opinion, only this kind of battle could truly show a martial artist's strength in all aspects. Interesting. Ling Xiao revealed a smile as he walked towards the outstanding pavilion. He liked this kind of battle. In fact, it was much better than the hypocrisy of competing openly in the arena but secretly using underhanded methods. The outstanding pavilion was a place the Tianhai Empire used to receive martial artists. Usually, it was used to receive martial artists who had sought refuge with the Empire, and when the White Tiger meet was about to arrive, this place would become a place specially used to receive participants. The outstanding pavilion was very large, and there would definitely be no shortage of rooms. Thus, under normal circumstances, there wouldn't be any conflicts because of this, unless someone was deliberately looking for trouble. When they arrived at the outstanding pavilion, Feng Ming and Wu Yang specially reminded them, according to the rules, we, the leaders, have to enter the imperial palace first to attend the emperor's meeting, and then listen to the emperor's arrangements. I'm afraid we won't be staying with you. So, from this moment on, your safety will depend on yourself. Unless you encounter something that requires my intervention, I won't interfere. Again, don't cause trouble and endure more. Saying this, Feng Ming and Wu Yang turned and left. Brother Ling will go to the outstanding pavilion first. What about you? Dan Feng glanced at Ling Xiao and asked, I want to walk around the streets. I'll have to trouble brother Dan Feng to take Long Chen and the others to find a good place. It would be best if we could stay together. The period before the White Tiger Tempest meet is probably the most dangerous period. Ling Xiao thought for a moment. No problem. Dan Feng nodded and then headed to the outstanding pavilion with Mou, Zhu Xiaocong and Long Chen. Ling Xiao, Feng Minglian, and Cold Plum looked at Ji Luoyu. Sister Luoyu, you said you were very familiar with Tianhai City. Do you know any places with especially delicious food? Let's go take a look first. Ling Xiao asked, You're already a yin-yang realm martial artist, but you still crave delicious food like a foodie. Ji Luoyu giggled. Although yin-yang realm martial artists can go months without eating, they can still enjoy delicious food. Chapter 1675. All right, I won't listen to your grand theories. There really is a place in Tianhai City that has the best delicacies in the world. I'm just afraid you won't have the luck to taste it. Ji Luoyu smiled. Whether I have the luck or not, we'll know once we get there. Lead the way. Ling Xiao really didn't believe that there was a place where he couldn't taste the delicacies. All right then, follow me. I reckon that there are already quite a lot of people there. The White Tiger meet is about to begin, and the participants are coming from all over the Sky Sea Empire. I reckon that they will definitely go to this place once they arrive at Sky Sea City. Ji Luoyu skipped forward as she turned her head and spoke. This place you're talking about, where is it? Ling Xiao was even more perplexed and interested. This place is the Wonder Tower, founded by the richest clan in the Tianhai Empire, the Fan clan. Wonder Tower? That's an interesting name. Why doesn't it sound like a place to eat, but more like a place to view the scenery? Ling Xiao had heard of the Fan clan before. It was a clan of the Tianhai Empire that was as wealthy as the Tianhai Imperial clan. However, this was the first time he had heard of the Wonder Tower. Haha, you'll know once we get there. They say that a day trip to the Wonder Tower will allow you to see all the beautiful sights in the world. These words aren't nonsense. Ji Luoyu smiled mysteriously but didn't explain. Ling Xiao didn't ask any more questions. However, he was even more curious. Feng Minglian and Cold Plum were also puzzled. What kind of place would allow one to see all the beautiful sights in the world? The distance between the Hero's Tower and the Wonder Tower was actually only 1 street long, about 1 li. These 2 towers were the only landmarks in Tianhai City apart from the Imperial Palace. The Hero's Tower occupied a large area, reaching a height of about 30 meters. The Wonder Tower was even larger. It occupied twice the area of the Hero's Tower and was also twice the height of the Hero's Tower. It practically reached into the clouds. When the wind blew, the Wonder Tower actually seemed to sway slightly. Generally, those who were not brave enough would not dare to set foot in it. Although the entire structure of Wondrous View Tower was also made of wood, this wood was resistant to fire and cold. Its toughness was not inferior to Frost Iron's 1,000-year ironwood. 1,000-year ironwood was extremely expensive. Even in the Tianhai Empire, aside from the super-rich Fan clan, no other clan would dare to use it like this. The Marvelous View Tower was located in a dense forest. This forest was probably the only ancient forest left in Sky Sea City. The forest covered an area of about 1,000 mu, and there were actually demonic beasts roaming about. Even the weakest of these demonic beasts were at the 10th Grotto Heaven realm. Furthermore, they were extremely ferocious. Therefore, even though the Miracle Tower did not have any rules, the guests who came here were generally martial artists with a cultivation base at the half-step Yin-Yang realm or above. Otherwise, before they could even enter the Wonder Tower, they would be killed by the demonic beasts lying in ambush nearby. The Tower of Wonders was 60 meters tall, and each floor was about 4 meters tall. There was a total of 15 floors. From the outside, one would discover that every floor of the Marvelous View Tower had a completely different aura, as if they were in a different world within the same space. It was very peculiar. Before entering the tower, Ling Xiao already vaguely understood the general meaning of the Wonder Tower's name. However, it was still just a conjecture. As for what was inside, he would know once he entered. Oh, right, Brother Ling, I forgot to tell you. The delicacies and wine in the Wonder Tower are extremely expensive, but you can enjoy them without paying. As they walked towards the Wonder Tower, Jiliu suddenly said, "There's a test on every floor. As long as you pass the test, you can drink to your heart's content and eat the best delicacies and wine on this floor. You don't even have to pay a single spirit stone. Looks like I can enjoy the delicacies for free today." Ling Xiao did not have many spirit stones on him now. Recently, he had used up a lot of spirit stones to cultivate. After all, the higher his cultivation base, the more spirit stones he needed. It looked like he would have to think of ways to earn money in the future. Before he stepped into the Wonder Tower, a fierce white tiger suddenly leaped out from the side of the road. This fierce tiger had the strength of a first-level Yin-Yang realm martial artist. Moreover, it looked very strange with a huge horn on its head. Scram! Ling Xiao did not make a move. He only looked at the fierce tiger coldly and revealed a strong murderous aura. Roar! The fierce tiger roared and turned to flee. Hee, Brother Ling is indeed powerful. You can scare away such a strong fierce tiger with just your murderous aura. Looks like we will definitely enjoy the delicacies in the Wonder Tower today. Ji Luoyu had come here in the past because of her father. Later on, she had come here alone a few times, but she could not reach the level that her father had brought her to before. She still remembered the delicacies and wonders of the Wonder Tower. She could not forget them. Although the food on the first floor of the Wonder Tower was delicious, there was nothing special. They were all things that Ling Xiao had eaten before, so he was not very interested. Moreover, the scenery on the first floor was just the forest outside the window. There was nothing special about it. Brother Ling, let's not bother about this. The first floor is basically a place for half-step yin-yang realm martial artists. Let's go higher. Ji Luoyu grabbed Ling Xiao's hand and said. Ling Xiao nodded. After hearing Ji Luoyu describe this place so mystical, Ling Xiao was really interested to see what secrets there were in the Wonder Tower. However, just as he stepped onto the stairs of the second floor, Ling Xiao felt a murderous aura descend. Looking up, there was a puppet martial artist at the end of the stairs. This puppet martial artist was very exquisitely made. Its appearance was almost the same as a human, except that it was cold. Ling Xiao's tai chi, I could see through it with one glance. What is that? Ling Xiao asked curiously. Oh, that is a gourmet guard. Starting from the second floor, every floor has one. If you want to enjoy the delicacies, you have to defeat the gourmet guard first. Ji Luoyu answered. Brother Ling, you don't have to do it. I will do it. My cultivation is now at the third level of the yin-yang realm. The limit I can reach is the fourth floor. After that, Brother Ling will have to do it. No problem. Ling Xiao nodded. According to what Ji Luoyu said, Ling Xiao felt that he could reach the 8th floor of the Wonder Tower at most. He probably couldn't go any higher. He didn't expect that eating in Sky Sea City depended on one's strength. It was very interesting. He wondered when he would be able to reach the 15th floor of the Wonder Tower. Ji Luoyu defeated the gourmet guard easily. As expected, the second floor was basically filled with martial artists at the first level of the yin-yang realm. The 4 of them didn't stop and continued going up. The third floor was the second level of the yin-yang realm. The fourth floor was the third level of the yin-yang realm. When they reached the 5th floor, Ji Luoyu had a hard time fighting against the 4th level of the yin-yang realm gourmet guard. However, she defeated it in the end. The first floor was filled with martial artists at the 4th level of the yin-yang realm. Some of them might even be here to participate in the White Tiger meet. It was just that Ling Xiao and the others didn't know them. Where did this pretty boy come from? How dare he make a woman charge into battle? Little girl, why don't you accompany me? You are better than that useless pretty boy. Chapter 1676. The higher one's cultivation level, the more arrogant they would be. On top of that, due to jealousy, there was finally someone on the 5th floor who sneered at him. However, Ling Xiao ignored him. He was willing to listen to Feng Ming and Wu Yang. He didn't want to be too eye-catching and cause trouble since he was new here. However, his forbearance was seen as weakness by others. The person who mocked him was insatiable. He jumped over and blocked everyone's path. He even reached out to grab Ji Luoyu. While doing this, his mouth was still unclean as he scolded. A young lady with a gigolo is not a good thing. It's better to play with this lord. That was intolerable. Senior Feng Ming and Wu Yang, I'm sorry. A cold glint flashed across Ling Xiao's eyes. If the other party had only mocked him out of jealousy, he could pretend that he didn't hear it. However, not only did the other party attack him, but his words were also very unpleasant. If he still tolerated it, wouldn't he become a green-haired tortoise? Ah! A blood-curdling scream sounded on the 5th floor. Ling Xiao didn't give any warning or nonsense. He just chopped off the guy's arm. However, that wasn't all. He took another step forward and cut off the guy's tongue. Ah! A blood-curdling scream sounded again. The entire 5th floor instantly became much colder. Ling Xiao looked coldly at the guy who was rolling on the ground in pain and said, I don't care about you, not because I'm afraid of you. Then he strode toward the 6th floor. Ji Luoyu felt sweet inside. She knew that Ling Xiao had never treated her as his woman. Even so, she still felt very happy that he would help her under such circumstances. That meant that this man still cared about her. He's going to the 6th floor? Looks like someone kicked an iron plate. Yeah, one has to be at least yin-yang realm level 5 to reach the 6th floor. He's so young, but he has such a cultivation level. Young people nowadays are really scary. They must be people who came to participate in the White Tiger Storm meet. That's right. Such a young genius can only be here to participate in the White Tiger Tempest Gathering. It looks like the White Tiger Tempest Gathering this time will be even more exciting than the previous ones. Ling Xiao did not hear these people's discussions. The guards on the 6th floor were at the 5th level of the Yin-Yang realm. To Ling Xiao, this was not difficult at all. He didn't even use the slightest bit of internal energy and defeated the puppet with a single punch. Luoyu, where is the highest floor that your father brought you to? When they reached the 6th floor, Ling Xiao suddenly asked. When my father was in Sky Sea City, he often brought me here. The highest floor we went to should be the 10th floor, but later his work shifted to other places and he never came again. That was 10 years ago. Luoyu said after thinking for a while. Ling Xiao knew that Ji Qing was powerful, but he had not expected him to be so terrifying. According to Luoyu's words, Ji Qing's cultivation level had already reached the 9th level of the Yin-Yang realm 10 years ago. How powerful would he be now? All right, I'll try my best to let you taste the delicacies that your father once tasted. Ling Xiao nodded. Since he had come here, he wanted to challenge his limits. The 8th floor was his highest goal. However, the guards here were only humanoid puppets. Compared to martial artists, the puppets' combat power was naturally weaker. Even if their cultivation level was higher, it was useless. After all, their combat skills could not be compared to a martial artist's. Hence, it might be possible for him to reach the 10th floor without using his tyrannical martial soul. Continue. On the 7th floor, Ling Xiao used some internal energy. On the 8th floor, Ling Xiao focused more on combat skills when facing the 7th level of the Yin-Yang realm humanoid puppet. The battle took a little longer, but he ended the battle in less than 10 minutes. Moreover, he did not use much of his internal energy. There's a way. Maybe I can reach a higher floor. After the battle with the humanoid puppets on the 8th floor, Ling Xiao felt that his idea was correct. These humanoid puppets were powerful, but they were brainless. It was easy for him to fight them. His goal was set even higher. Luoyu, maybe I can bring you to the 11th floor. However, it's just a maybe. I'm not very confident. Don't have high hopes. Ling Xiao smiled and said, It's okay. I'll be happy if I can reach the 10th floor. Luoyu was easily satisfied. On the 9th floor, they faced the 8th level of the Yin-Yang realm humanoid puppet. Ling Xiao used about 50% of his strength to destroy it. Of course, the battle lasted longer this time, 15 minutes. Why don't we take a break on this floor before continuing? Although Ling Xiao was confident, he was not conceited. It would be very difficult for him to continue when he was not in a good condition. He thought for a while and suggested, Of course, we haven't enjoyed ourselves after running for so long. Why don't we drink some wine, eat some fruits, and soak in the hot spring before continuing? Soak in the hot spring? Ling Xiao was stunned. The 9th floor did not look any different from the other floors. How could there be a place to soak in the hot spring? Just come with me. Luoyu chuckled and led Ling Xiao, Feng Minglian, and Cold Plum to the counter on the 9th floor. A jug of 900-year-old ice lotus wine, a large plate of 900-year-old scarlet fruits, and a bowl of 900-year-old red date porridge for recovery. Can 900-year-old red date porridge be eaten? Ling Xiao frowned and asked, Country bumpkin. Hearing Ling Xiao's question, the two martial artists sitting at a nearby table said and then laughed. Ling Xiao ignored them. He was indeed a country bumpkin here. Big brother Ling, you misunderstood. The so-called 900-year-old red date porridge refers to the special red dates that have matured for 900 years and other condiments. It doesn't mean that the red date porridge is 900 years old. Luoyu explained and then said to the beauty on the counter, In addition, add a hot spring. Just send the food to the hot spring. Do you want to take the test? The beauty asked, No need. Ji Lui shook her head and then looked at Ling Xiao and said, Big brother Ling, this time it's my treat. When we reach a higher level, you can treat me again. Okay. Ling Xiao nodded and felt that there was no problem. But when Ji Luoyu paid the bill, he was shocked. 3 kinds of food, and all of them were just appetizers, plus a hot spring. Ji Luoyu actually charged 700,000 low-grade spirit stones. This was really ridiculously expensive. Even if it was a carefully refined elixir, many would not have this price. This was robbery. When Ji Luoyu paid, the eyes of the 2 martial artists who ridiculed Ling Xiao for being a country bumpkin lit up, and then the corners of their mouths raised into a sneer. However, no one noticed their expressions. However, Ling Xiao felt that the aura of these 2 people seemed to be a little familiar. Chapter 16, 77. Ji Liu paid the bill, and the beauty at the counter took out a compass-like object. Then she moved it, and the needle pointed directly at a pattern that looked like a hot spring. All right, the 3 of you, this is your spatial compass. Take it and follow the needle to enter the hot spring. The things you want are already there. Many thanks. Ji Luoyu took the compass and led Ling Xiao and the other 2 forward. They followed the needle for about 50 steps, when the scenery in front of them suddenly changed. The hot spring was steaming hot. Several plates floated above the hot spring, and on them were the things they wanted. Ling Xiao had just noticed that this should be a very advanced storage array, and the principle was somewhat similar to that of a storage ring. However, this storage array could directly store natural scenery, as if it was another space. This fan family was really frighteningly powerful. They even had this kind of thing. It was really shocking. In truth, he was a little envious, just looking at it. Luoyu, why is there only 1 hot spring? Shouldn't it be separated? Ling Xiao looked around. The misty hot spring didn't have any barriers. If he wanted to soak, he could only do it with the 3 girls. He had never done such a thing before. Big brother Ling, the people of the Tianhai Empire are more open. It's not strange for men and women to bathe together. If you're shy, you can wait until the 3 of us go in, and then you can go in. Ji Luoyu said with a smile. Ling Xiao was embarrassed. No matter how powerful the enemy he had met was, he had never been as embarrassed as he was today. He waited for the 3 girls to go in before entering the water. Although the temperature of the hot spring wasn't high, he could clearly feel that there was some kind of medicine in the water. When soaking, all the internal energy in his body became active. Not only can this place eliminate fatigue, it also seems to be very beneficial for cultivation. Ling Xiao was no longer embarrassed. Instead, he was a little excited. Have a taste of the food, Ji Luoyu said with a smile. Ling Xiao nodded and poured himself a cup of 900-year-old ice lotus wine before drinking it. Suddenly, he felt a strange chill in his body. It was as cold as the astral wind in the snowy region. Eat another scarlet fruit, Ji Luoyu said. Ling Xiao nodded and ate one of the scarlet fruits. This time it was a strange heat. It was as if there was a fire burning in his body. Interesting, very interesting. Everyone, let's eat together. No wonder these things are so expensive. They are very beneficial to cultivation, Ling Xiao said excitedly. Ji Luoyu smiled and said, Big brother Ling, from the 1st floor to the 15th floor of the marvelous view tower, there are similar things to eat. But every time you go up a floor, the price of all the food will increase by 10,000 low-grade spirit stones. For example, the 1st floor was 10,000, and the 2nd floor was 20,000. This 20,000 meant that all the food was at least 20,000, and the highest was 30,000. This is the 9th floor, so all the ingredients here cost at least 90,000, and the highest won't exceed 100,000. Of course, the hot springs are more expensive than the ingredients. Therefore, the consumption this time is also quite high. After enjoying the hot spring and delicious food, Ling Xiao not only felt that his cultivation had increased, but also that the physical strength and internal energy that he had used before had been completely recovered. It could be said that it was quite magical. The four of them stepped out of the hot spring space. When they were about to go to the 10th floor, the two warriors who had mocked Ling Xiao and called him a country bumpkin blocked their way. One of them laughed and said, "Brother, we have offended you with our words just now. This is just a cup of wine. How about we let bygones be bygones?" He smiled very brightly. However, in Ling Xiao's Tai Chi eyes, this smile seemed so fake. "I didn't intend to make a fuss about it. It was just two dogs barking," Ling Xiao said indifferently. The warrior with a smile on his face froze for a moment, but then he recovered his smile and said, "Hee, brother, you really know how to joke. Then can we drink this cup of wine? We spent a high price to buy this. A jug of wine cost 95,000 low-grade spirit stones. At most, we can pour 10 cups. One cup of wine costs nearly 10,000 low-grade spirit stones. Brother, you have to give us face." Ling Xiao glanced at the wine in the cup, then picked it up and drank it in one gulp. The moment Ling Xiao drank, the warrior with a smile raised the corner of his mouth into a cold smile. The other warrior also had a sinister smile on his face. After a cup of wine was poisoned, Ling Xiao suddenly felt as if he was burning. He felt as if his liver and intestines were being cut into pieces. His face also turned red, and his expression was extremely ugly. "Ah, you actually gave my big brother Ling the hot 9-yang poison wine." Ji Luiyu saw the change in Ling Xiao and suddenly turned pale with fright. "Ha ha ha, that's right. It's the 9-yang poison wine. This wine contains crane's crown red and 9 other types of extreme yang poison. It is refined by fusing with special medicinal herbs. Those with high cultivation, after drinking a small mouthful, would need to spend a month to refine it. After success, one's cultivation will increase greatly. Hee hee, I wonder what cultivation this brat has. He actually dared to drink the entire cup of wine. I'm afraid he's not far from death." The cultivator with the smiling face laughed heartily. "What do you want to do? Why do you want to harm my big brother Ling?" Ji Luiyu's beautiful face was cold, and she was unable to restrain her anger. "I'm sorry, we were only entrusted by others. Who asked him to be greedy? He deserved to die." "The dignified celestial emperor is only SO," the man said disdainfully. "Good wine." At this moment, a scene that caused the two warriors to be terrified appeared. Ling Xiao's expression instantly turned good. Not only that, he actually picked up the wine jug and drank the entire jug of wine. "It's really a good wine. This 9-yang poison wine is wonderful, wonderful." Ling Xiao's face was flushed red, and his body felt like it was on fire. However, he was very excited. This was because the 9-yang poison wine could perfectly merge with the crimson sun power in his body instantly, greatly increasing his cultivation. It allowed him to advance to the mid-stage of the 4th level of the yin-yang realm. Not only that, but more than a dozen Imperial Heaven Earth Queen cells had also awakened due to the blazing tempering. He could clearly feel that his body had become stronger, and his Imperial Heaven Earth Queen power had also become denser. The two warriors were dumbfounded. They looked at Ling Xiao as though they were looking at a ghost. They could not believe what they were seeing was real. "Go buy more. Spend all the spirit stones you have." Ling Xiao looked coldly at the two warriors before him. His cold eyes revealed a terrifying murderous intent. The two warriors instantly felt as though they had fallen into an ice cellar. At this moment, they finally understood that Ling Xiao was really too terrifying. He was simply a monster. The two of them were both at the 7th level of the yin-yang realm. They only entered the 9th level by taking advantage of the situation. After all, the guardian puppets had a lot of weaknesses. Puppets were puppets, after all. They were not as smart as humans. Chapter 1678. In fact, the two assassins had always been in front of Ling Xiao and the others. Every time Ling Xiao went up a floor, they would go up a floor as well. When Ling Xiao stopped on the 9th floor, they stopped as well. If they went any higher, they wouldn't be able to do anything. After all, even if they took advantage of the situation, they wouldn't be able to deal with the puppet guards above the 10th floor. They didn't have as many tricks as Ling Xiao. The two of them looked at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. They gritted their teeth and took out some spirit stones to buy 2 pots of 9-yang poison wine. Ling Xiao still drank it all. The moment the 9-yang poison wine entered his stomach, he felt intense pain. However, after a while it turned into enjoyment. That feeling was really comfortable. Go buy more. I know you have at least 1 million low-grade spirit stones in your storage rings. Go buy 10 more pots. Ling Xiao said coldly, "Don't go overboard. Do you really think we're afraid of you?" The cultivator with the smiling face was really unhappy. Even though Ling Xiao's aura was terrifying, their cultivation wasn't weak either. They were really unhappy to be bullied like this. "Do you want to die or buy more wine? It's up to you," Ling Xiao said calmly. The two of them clenched their fists and stood there for a long time. In the end, they didn't plan to use force. After all, Ling Xiao wasn't alone. He had 3 female companions with him. These 3 female companions weren't just for show. They could clearly feel the terrifying aura of a powerhouse from them. The counter said that there are only 5 pots left. Usually, no one dares to drink this kind of 9-yang poison wine, so there aren't many left. The two of them came back with 5 pots of 9-yang poison wine and explained. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and drank 4 of the bottles. He could feel the energy surging through his body. He was wild with joy. His cultivation was about to break through again. Even though it was just a small step in the 4th level of the yin-yang realm, it was still very precious. One wouldn't be able to travel 1,000 miles without taking a few steps. The late stage of the 4th level of the yin-yang realm, Ling Xiao spat out a mouthful of white smoke, feeling extremely carefree. "It's impolite not to reciprocate. Since you've treated me to such good wine, I'll split this pot between the 2 of you," Ling Xiao said with a faint smile. "What?" The faces of the 2 martial artists instantly turned pale. This kind of wine, drinking a small mouthful was already the limit. If the 2 of them drank a jug, they would definitely die. "Drink or not?" Ling Xiao said indifferently. "Fight it out with him." The 2 of them were very clear that once they drank the 9-yang poison wine, they would definitely die. Rather than that, they might as well fight Ling Xiao. However, before they could even make a move, they found themselves unable to move. Unbeknownst to them, the shadow-like tentacles in the darkness had firmly imprisoned the 2 of them. "If you don't want to drink, then I'll feed you," Ling Xiao said coldly. Then the shadowy tentacles grabbed the wine jug and poured the wine into the mouths of the 2 martial artists. Then the shadowy tentacles loosened, and the 2 of them fell to the ground, trembling in fear. "Let's go. Let's continue going up." Ling Xiao didn't look at the 2 assassins again. He wasn't even interested in who was behind them. He had many enemies, anyway. So what if they knew? Sooner or later, this enemy would reveal his true identity. When they stepped onto the stairs, the 2 martial artists on the ground had already been attacked by the fire poison. As they screamed in agony, their bodies curled up like shrimps before they died. It was terrifying, as if their bodies were being burned by fire. Celestial Emperor Ling Xiao, what a terrifying fellow. In the crowd, some martial artists looked at this scene in horror and put down their weapons that were almost out of their sheaths. On this floor, there were many people who wanted to kill Ling Xiao. However, when they saw the miserable state of the 2 martial artists, they didn't dare to make a move recklessly. Ling Xiao wouldn't be able to defeat the puppet guards on the 10th floor with pure strength. Therefore, on this floor, Ling Xiao chose to take advantage of the situation. He used a formation to deceive the guards and entered the 10th floor. They didn't stop on the 10th floor. Instead, they continued to the 11th floor. Logically speaking, the guards on the 11th floor should be puppet guards at the 10th level of Yin-Yang realm. However, when they stepped onto the stairs, they realized something was wrong. They were no longer puppet guards. Instead, they were humans. Humans who were alive. Go back. The 11th floor isn't a place where ordinary people like you can go. The guard sat there and drank from a jug of wine. He didn't look impressive, but his strength was extremely terrifying. Ji Luoyu looked at Ling Xiao and said, "Big brother Ling, let's go to the 10th floor. I didn't know there was a real person guarding this floor. Since you're here, why are you in such a hurry to leave?" Ling Xiao smiled. He didn't like to retreat before challenging someone. Of course, it was impossible for him to win against a 10th level Yin-Yang realm martial artist. However, he had other tricks up his sleeve. He wasn't a gentleman, so he didn't need to use his strength to defeat the other party. The butterfly lady in the Mountain River realm had already reached the 14th level of Yin-Yang realm. The butterfly lady's cultivation seemed to be 10 levels higher than his. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't catch up. Others said he was a monster, a genius. However, in his opinion, this little guy was the true monster. Even the word monster couldn't describe how terrifying this little guy was. Of course, since he encountered such a powerhouse, he wanted to test his own combat strength before summoning the butterfly lady to battle. Although he couldn't defeat the guard, this was a rare opportunity. "Kid, this isn't a place for you. Go down." The guard, holding the jug of wine, stood up. His originally sleepy eyes instantly became sharp and cold. As he spoke, the guard suddenly attacked. He opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of alcohol. The alcohol contained terrifying yin-yang origin energy. It sent Ling Xiao flying to the bottom of the stairs. Fortunately, Ling Xiao was prepared. He wasn't in such a sorry state and easily stood up again. As expected, he's a 10th level yin-yang realm powerhouse. The Fan family is terrifying. They can actually make such a powerhouse guard the door. Ling Xiao wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and looked at the cold guard at the top of the stairs. There was no fear on his face. Instead, it was filled with excitement. "Brother Ling, there's really no need. The 10th level is good enough." Ji Luoyu hurriedly shouted when she saw Ling Xiao injured. She didn't want anything to happen to Ling Xiao because of her. "Luoyu, stand aside and watch. A battle isn't just about strength. This person has been guarding the stairs for many years. He's been out of touch for too long. His battle style is outdated." Ling Xiao smiled. "Although I might not be able to defeat him, there's still a 30% chance of passing the stairs he's guarding." "Oh." The guard looked at Ling Xiao with a smile and said, "According to the rules, as long as you can pass through the stairs that I'm guarding, you'll be considered to have succeeded. You and your friends can go up. However, can you really do it?" Chapter 16, 79. The martial artist guarding the 11th floor had a powerful cultivation base and combat power, so he looked down on Ling Xiao. This was not arrogance, but true confidence. To him, Ling Xiao was like a challenger who overestimated himself, trying to use the arm of a praying mantis to stop a wheel. Only death awaited him like this. Ling Xiao took a deep breath. A dark, demonic sword hovered above his head. He then merged it with the domineering yin-yang origin energy and stabbed the sword at the guard. Dark, demonic sword, soul annihilation. Ling Xiao's current demonic world annihilation art had already been cultivated to the level where both the soul and spirit would be destroyed. This was also the greatest power that the dark, demonic sword could achieve at the moment. He wanted to see if his sudden burst of ferocious attack could shake this 10th level yin-yang stage powerhouse. The violent dark aura gathered on the stairs as if a demonic creature was charging at the guard. The guard could not help but frown. Soon after, he revealed a disdainful sneer. Like before, he merely extended his right fist and punched towards Ling Xiao. Boom! A terrifying collision sound exploded in the stairwell. However, what was surprising was that the staircase was not destroyed. It was as if there was a special energy protecting the entire miracle tower. Bam! Ling Xiao was sent flying again and landed on the 10th floor. He spat out a mouthful of blood. However, the guard also took a step back. As expected, I can't defeat a 10th level yin-yang realm martial artist with my current cultivation base. Ling Xiao chuckled. He was not upset at all. Although he was defeated, he only suffered some internal injuries. He circulated his inner energy, and the alcohol power that he had not fully converted surged through his body. His injuries were basically healed. All right, since you know you can't do it, leave quickly. Otherwise, I can't guarantee that I'll show mercy again. The guard looked at Ling Xiao with a hint of approval. A mere 4th level yin-yang realm martial artist was able to force him to take a step back. This had never happened before. Although he had shown mercy in his punch earlier, an ordinary 4th level yin-yang martial artist would definitely be severely injured on the spot and would not be able to stand up at all. However, not only did Ling Xiao stand up, but he also looked fine. Retreating is out of the question. However, I can't play around with Senior anymore. If there's a chance in the future, let's fight fair and square. Today was just a cheap trick. The corners of Ling Xiao's mouth curled into a sly smile. Then, his figure flashed and disappeared from the stairway. A mere concealment technique. Do you really think you can fool this old man? The guard sneered and said, Since you are so stubborn, this old master doesn't need to show mercy. All of a sudden, his berserk aura turned into a dense cloud of alcohol, enveloping the entire staircase. However, in the next moment, Ling Xiao still passed through his blockade. Invisibility. Senior, you're wrong. This is called shadow profundity, a true profundity technique. When I completely transform into a shadow, I'm a true shadow. You can't hurt me, and of course I can't attack you either. Ling Xiao had already appeared on the 11th floor. He looked at the confused guard with a smile and spoke. The guard was stunned for a moment before he burst into laughter. Ha 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 ha. Good, very good. I haven't seen such an interesting kid in a long time. You're very powerful. You can go to the 15th floor to participate in today's banquet. Banquet? Ling Xiao asked in confusion. I don't have the ability to go to the 15th floor. It's all right. If this old master says you're qualified, then you're qualified. Today, young Master Fan Ruahai of the Fan family has invited young martial artists to participate in the White Tiger meet. The minimum requirement is to be at the 5th level of Yin-Yang realm, and you must be a martial artist from the Tianhai Empire. Of course, martial artists from other places must be approved by this old master before they are qualified to enter. The guard explained. Senior, you think so highly of me? Ling Xiao asked with a smile. The Celestial Emperor, the #1 young martial artist in the Dragon Phoenix continent. This old master is neither deaf nor blind. You're quite famous in the White Tiger continent. The guard smiled and said, Oh, the marvelous view tower has the most beautiful scenery and the best delicacies. It'll be very beneficial to your cultivation. Of course, there will be many people watching you, hoping to see you make a fool of yourself. So, it's up to you whether you have the guts to go or not. Senior, you're also a martial artist from the Sky Dragon continent, right? Ling Xiao suddenly asked. Legend has it that a few hundred years ago, there was a martial artist on the Sky Dragon continent who was known as the Wine Immortal. He went to the White Tiger continent and never returned. I didn't expect anyone to remember this old master. However, that's all in the past. Now, I'm just a watchdog for the Fan family, haha. As he spoke, the old man's face was a little dejected. There were hints of grief, indignation, and helplessness. Ling Xiao saw all this and guessed that something must have happened to the old man. He was about to call Cold Plum and the rest up. Suddenly, the old man said, Little friend, the White Tiger continent is not like the Sky Dragon continent or the Divine Phoenix continent. You have to be careful. Some people who look like friends may not be friends. Ling Xiao was stunned for a moment, then nodded and said, "Thank you for the reminder, Senior." In this world, there were indeed too many smiling tigers. This kind of person was even more terrifying than a savage enemy. For distinguished guests on the 11th floor, please make way. The Wine Immortal's voice directly traveled from the 11th floor to the 15th floor. Because of this, Ling Xiao was able to pass from the 11th floor to the 15th floor without any obstructions. On every floor, there was a terrifying martial artist. Their cultivation was stronger than the Wine Immortal, but they were all lethargic, as if they were filled with resentment and unwillingness. Looking at Ling Xiao, their faces actually revealed a slight smile. It was as if Ling Xiao's appearance to them was like a clear stream that was injected into a dry field. Although it was impossible to save the entire field, at least there was some hope. Ling Xiao did not speak to them, but he could clearly feel that everyone had some expectations for him. However, he was also a little worried. He did not know why. He did not want to know for now. This was because he understood that the strongest of these martial artists was an expert at the 14th level of the Yin-Yang realm. If they could not solve the problem, with Ling Xiao's current cultivation, it was simply impossible to solve it. Since he could not solve it, there was no need to be concerned. The four of them went all the way to the 15th floor. Ji Luoyi was very nervous. She had never been above the 11th floor of the Wonder Tower in her life. She did not expect that she would be able to set foot on the 15th floor with Ling Xiao today. This was really like a dream. Just as the Wine Immortal said, there was a banquet being held on the 15th floor. The guests sat in front of a 1-meter-long wooden table, cross-legged, and tasted the fine wine and delicacies. One could clearly see that the delicacies on the wooden table were all good things that Ling Xiao had never eaten before. The meat of a 14th level of the Yin-Yang realm demonic beast, the 1,500-year-old scarlet fruit, the 1,500-year-old Saturn peach. There were also various good things that Ling Xiao did not even know the names of. Chapter 1680. Although there were many delicacies on the table, they seemed to be appetizers. The main course had yet to be served. The young martial artists were discussing and rejoicing. With their cultivation, they were not qualified to come here. If not for the banquet set up by Fan family's young master, Fan Rohai, some of them might not even be able to break through to the 7th floor. The arrival of Ling Xiao and the other 3 made all the martial artists turn to look at them. 3 of them are at the 3rd level of the Yin-Yang realm, and 1 is at the 4th level of the Yin-Yang realm. How can such martial artists be qualified to come here? Old man Jiu must be dim-sighted. In the mystic world, if one's cultivation was higher than another's by 3 levels or more, one would be able to tell the other's cultivation level. That was the so-called eyesight. Although it was possible to make a mistake due to certain reasons, it was usually not wrong. Young martial artists at the 7th level of the Yin-Yang realm could be found everywhere on the 15th floor. They could easily see through the cultivation levels of Ling Xiao and the others. Of course, this was because Ling Xiao did not hide his cultivation level. Otherwise, even a martial artist at the 18th level of the Yin-Yang realm would not be able to see through his cultivation level, let alone them. Ling Xiao and the other 3 were obviously looked down upon as soon as they arrived. This was because the lowest cultivation level of the martial artists here was at the 5th level of the Yin-Yang realm. Their cultivation levels were not high enough. They looked at Ling Xiao, and Ling Xiao looked back at them. The martial artists here were all below the age of 30, and their cultivation levels were quite high. He now understood why Feng Mingwuyang said that there were at most 5 people from the Dragon Phoenix continent who could represent the Tianhai Empire in the White Tiger meet. Their cultivation levels were really too low. Even Feng Ming Lian, Cold Plum, and Jiluoyu were considered the best in the Dragon Phoenix continent. But when placed here, it didn't count for much. There were more than 20 people here, and every one of them had a higher cultivation level than them. Even Ling Xiao had to admit that they were weaker than the others. The person sitting at the head of the banquet should be the young master of the Fan family, Fan Ruohai. This person was dressed lazily and casually. His chest was wide open, and his long golden hair fell on his shoulders. There was always a feeling of laziness. He couldn't tell what his cultivation level was. He probably cultivated some kind of technique to hide his cultivation level. This person was definitely not easy to deal with. Ling Xiao secretly judged. To the right of Fan Ruohai sat a woman who looked to be in her 20s. Her appearance and temperament were outstanding. Her every movement gave off the feeling of a young lady from an aristocratic family. Furthermore, he felt that his strength was extremely terrifying. However, according to Jiluoyu's secret introduction, this woman was actually Fan Ruohai's maidservant called Mu Wanshuang. And this Mu Wanshuang was one of the 4 most terrifying young experts of the Tianhai Empire. It was worth mentioning that Fan Ruohai was not among the 4 young experts. Hence, there were rumors that Fan Ruohai's standing in the Fan family was mostly due to Mu Wanshuang. Mu Wanshuang used to be an assassin, and she was the kind of assassin who relied on her life to complete her mission. The corpse camp she was in was the scariest assassin organization in the Tianhai Empire. There wasn't a single normal person among them, and countless people died every day. Moreover, it was said that the Walking Corpse Camp was a secret organization of the Dark God Palace in the White Tiger continent. Of course, these were all rumors and could not be taken seriously. However, Mu Wanshuang failed to assassinate Fan Ruohai and almost died. She was then rescued by Fan Ruohai and became Fan Ruohai's personal maidservant. These 2 people were probably the 2 most dazzling stars in the entire banquet. Even Ling Xiao could feel their terror. Fan Ruohai smiled lazily, then looked at Jiluoyu and said, "Haha, I was wondering who it was. So it's the daughter of Senior Ji Qing, the disciple of the Medicine King's Sun Zai. Sorry for the disrespect, but you are far inferior to your senior sister." His voice was very warm and pleasant to the ear. However, Jiluoyu felt unhappy. Sun Lingchan is Sun Zai's daughter. Sun Zai imparted all his skills to her. How can she not be outstanding? Jiluoyu snorted coldly and said, "And listen, I have already severed my master-disciple relationship with Sun Zai. Don't put me together with that guy again." Sun Lingchan, the daughter of the Medicine King Sun Zai, was known as the Sacred Beauty. She was one of the 4 young geniuses of the Tianhai Empire. She was as famous as Mu Wanshuang. Then you will suffer a loss. The Medicine King Sun Zai is a distinguished guest of the 4 great empires, including the Zhenyi School. You have severed your master-disciple relationship with him. In the future, the supply of elixirs to your Tianlong trading company will become a big problem. Fan Ruohai said with a smile, "You don't have to worry about this. We naturally have our own channels." Jiluoyu said with a smile, "In addition to being stronger than Ling Xiao in cultivation, the Medicine King Sun Zai was not necessarily inferior to Ling Xiao in terms of alchemy." Jiluoyu was naturally not worried. This was because the relationship between Ling Xiao and the Tianlong Trading Company had been very good since Princess Yunya. They often cooperated. At this moment, in the banquet, everyone's eyes were on Jiluoyu. Although Jiluoyu's cultivation was not very strong, it was already very impressive for her to reach the 3rd level of the Yin-Yang realm at her age. Therefore, she could be considered a dazzling future star. Of course, there were also people who peeked at Feng Minglian and Cold Plum. Only Ling Xiao was completely ignored by everyone. Their cultivation was not very high, but the 3 women's outstanding appearances were obviously more eye-catching than a stinky man like Ling Xiao. Who passed Old Man Zhou's test? Fan Ruahai suddenly changed the topic and asked. Of course it's my brother Ling, Jiliu said excitedly. Brother Ling? In the banquet, many young male martial artists suddenly felt a wave of jealousy. Jiliu was as beautiful as a flower and had a powerful background. Everyone wanted to have a good relationship with her. However, this delicate beauty actually called an ordinary-looking young man with mediocre cultivation brother. This made them feel very unbalanced in their hearts. It was as if a white swan and a toad had become a pair. Oh, Miss Luoyu is talking about you, right? I'm Fan Ruahai, the young master of the Fan family. May I know how to address you? Fan Ruahai was very polite and appeared to be very magnanimous. This made Ling Xiao have a good impression of him. I'm Ling Xiao from the Celestial Empire. Ling Xiao answered calmly. He did not say that he was the Celestial Emperor because, in front of these people, his cultivation was too low. The title of Celestial Emperor was too hateful. He did not have the right now. It would not be too late to announce his identity as the Celestial Emperor of the Celestial Empire after he won the White Tiger meet. Celestial Empire? The rebel country that is not recognized by the Four Empires and the Jingyi School? Someone asked. Ling Xiao did not answer this question because there was no need to. This was because there was no need to answer. Ling Xiao didn't like the idea of a rebellious country. It was just that they did not agree to be a subordinate country of the Tianhai Empire, so it became illegal. Chapter 1681. The Heavenly Dynasty Empire was obviously being looked down upon by the forces of the White Tiger continent. This was also very normal because they were not the vassals of the four great empires and the righteous sect, nor were they qualified to be on equal footing with them. Impudent, this young hero is asking you a question. Are you mute? One of the people in the seat stood up furiously, glaring at Ling Xiao. He was quite angry. Calm down, calm down. Today is a banquet. I hope no one gets angry. Fan Ruahai said with a smile. That person immediately swallowed back the swear words and then sat down. This was the prestige brought about by strength and influence. The people present feared Fan Ruahai. It was that simple, so they would listen to Fan Ruahai. Brother Ling, right? Are you here to participate in the White Tiger meet? Fan Ruahai looked at Ling Xiao again and asked with a smile. Fan Ruahai was already over 30 years old. Although he was only 32, he was already not qualified to participate in the White Tiger meet. However, his maidservant Mu Wanchuang was only 22 years old, so she was qualified. The young people present were also all cultivators qualified to participate in the White Tiger meet. Although whether they could go in the end still depended on the changes in the coming days. But for now, they were all potential participants. Ling Xiao was the same and could be killed at any time, just like on the 9th floor. That's right. Ling Xiao looked at Fan Ruahai and answered, neither servile nor overbearing. Although he could not see through this Fan Ruahai, there was no need to fear him. How could the heart of a cultivator be fearful? Hearing Ling Xiao's words, everyone instantly started discussing spiritedly. After all, Ling Xiao looked only 17 or 18 years old, which was really a little young. Generally speaking, according to the information of the past White Tiger meet, there were only a few cultivators under 20 years old in the final competition, and the rest were between 20 and 30 years old. The closer one was to 30 years old, the more cultivators there would be. In fact, this was very normal. The age of cultivation was there, and under normal circumstances, unless one was a peerless freak, the gap would not be too big. At Ling Xiao's age, he was actually chosen by the people of Dragon Phoenix Mountain to participate in the White Tiger Storm meet. Although he did not have an official identity, this was already enough to show his outstanding talent. However, even so, Ling Xiao was still looked down upon. Because in the eyes of the White Tiger continent's martial artists, the martial artists of the Heavenly Dragon continent and the Divine Phoenix continent simply did not have the qualifications to compete with them on the same stage. This time, when the rules of the White Tiger Tempest meet were changed, the young martial artists from the Heavenly Dragon Continent and the Divine Phoenix Continent were actually met with great opposition. However, this was the result of the discussion between the organizers, the Four Empires, and the Genie School. It was basically impossible for anyone to change it. However, these people could not change the rules, but they could despise the martial artists from the Dragon Phoenix Continent. For example, the warrior that Ling Xiao had previously ignored. At this moment, he stood up again, dressed in a green battle robe. He looked particularly eye-catching. Ha ha ha! Are these the goods of the Dragon Phoenix Continent? What a joke! I advise you to go back to your kennel as soon as possible. This is not a place for a child like you. Otherwise, no one will pity you even if you die. There was a strong sense of mockery in his voice. The banquet roared with laughter. Almost all the martial artists thought that what the green-robed man said was right. Their laughter was filled with disdain and strong contempt for Ling Xiao. Only Fan Ruohai and Mu Wanchuang were indifferent. Fan Ruohai still looked unfathomable. He sat there lazily as if he was watching a show. On the other hand, Mu Wanchuang's face was cold. From the beginning to the end, there was no one else in her eyes. It was as if she only had room for Fan Ruohai. Actually, it was no wonder that those people mocked Ling Xiao. One must know that a fourth-level yin-yang martial artist was only qualified to be a stepping stone in the previous White Tiger Tempest meets. It was completely impossible for him to achieve anything. In the end, he would fail miserably with his tail between his legs. To put it nicely, he was going to participate in the competition. To put it bluntly, he was going to serve as a foil for others. Of course, Ling Xiao knew what these people were thinking. He had also read the information of the past White Tiger meet. Martial artists at the fourth level of the yin-yang realm would basically be kicked out in the first round. Some of them couldn't even make it into the main competition. They died mysteriously as soon as they arrived at the capital. If one wanted to enter the main competition during the White Tiger Storm meet, one had to at least attain a cultivation at the fifth level of the yin-yang stage. Only then would one barely qualify to enter the main competition. Moreover, this was only the qualification. Whether or not one could enter depended entirely on one's luck. If he met a powerful opponent, he would be done for. Of course, this kind of saying was only based on ordinary martial artists. Geniuses and monstrous geniuses were another matter altogether. In previous years' White Tiger Storm conclaves, there had been precedents of someone defeating an opponent 2 levels higher than them. However, this was extremely rare. However, the Heavenly Dynasty Empire's martial artists just happened to be such an oddity. Although the White Tiger Continent's martial artists' cultivation conditions were very good, and the cultivation environment was very superior. However, the competition between the Sky Dragon Continent and the Divine Phoenix Continent's martial artists was even more intense. There were fewer geniuses, and it was even harder for them to stand out. Oftentimes, those who could stand out in the end were the most outstanding ones. It could be said that the Heavenly Dynasty Empire's martial artists were the cream of the crop in the Heavenly Dragon Continent and the Divine Phoenix Continent. Although the 20 over people present were outstanding, other than Fan Ruohai and Mu Wanchuang, they were not the cream of the crop. Haha! Do you mean that if a piece of trash like you dies, people will pity you? You're only at the 5th level of the yin-yang stage. You're 1 level higher than me, but you look more than 10 years older than me. How shameless are you to actually mock me? Ling Xiao smiled lightly and asked the person in return. Those who were familiar with Ling Xiao knew that other than his terrifying abilities, this fellow's glib tongue was not bad either. His words were filled with provocation and mockery. How dare you? A martial artist from a tiny rebel country actually dares to spout nonsense in the Great Wonder Tower. You must be tired of living. The green-robed man's chest heaved up and down in anger. Haha, I'm afraid the one spouting nonsense isn't me, right? Ling Xiao smirked and said, I've seen many inspiring people and things that are worth learning from since I came to the White Tiger continent. For example, the unfathomable Wonder Tower. However, there are also some disappointing things. For example, a piece of trash like you actually occupied the quota for the White Tiger meat. What a joke. You're courting death. The green-robed man was finally enraged. He actually ignored Fan Ruahai's presence and suddenly pounced on Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao did not even look at the green-robed man's attack. He allowed the other party's fist to hit his head. Are you tickling me? Ling Xiao smirked and suddenly punched the green-robed man out of the window. Sorry, I've affected everyone's drinking mood. Everyone, please continue. After sending the green-robed man flying, many people looked at Ling Xiao differently. After all, martial artists respected the strong. Chapter 1682. After sending the green-robed man flying with a punch, Ling Xiao looked at Fan Ruohai and said, Young Master Fan, we're here to enjoy delicious food, not to cause trouble. Since we followed the rules of the banquet, can we take our seats now? Ha ha ha, of course. Brother Ling and the 3 fairies, please take your seats. Fan Ruohai laughed, showing the magnanimity and pride that he should have. Ling Xiao felt more and more that this person was not simple. This person's way of doing things was really smooth, and he had a maid like Mu Wanchuang by his side. He was definitely not simple. Ling Xiao waited for the 3 girls to take their seats before he sat down in an imposing manner. Because he had already tasted the delicacies of the Tower of Wonders on the 9th floor, he was even more curious about the delicacies on the 15th floor. He stared at the delicacies and tasted them himself. The others, however, were all staring at him. Perhaps they were all guessing what method Ling Xiao had used to send the green-robed martial artist flying with a punch without any fluctuation of inner power. What a pity. Although these things are good, the main dish hasn't been served yet, right? Ling Xiao tasted every dish, even though the effects were much stronger than those on the 9th floor. However, because he had already eaten those things before, the effect was naturally greatly reduced. Thus, he was not very satisfied. Haha, Brother Ling is right. Since everyone is here, let's serve the main dish. Fan Ruohai smiled and clapped his hands. Then, more than 20 women in bright clothes walked out with plates in their hands like floating clouds and flowing water. Their steps were like dance steps. There were lids on the plates, so they could not see what was inside. Fan Ruohai continued, To taste this delicacy, you have to be in the snowy plains to feel it better. Then the scene on the 15th floor changed, and everyone seemed to be in the snowy plains. The cold wind was not raging, and martial artists with weaker cultivation had to use their inner power to expel the cold. But there were also those who did not care about the cold. Ling Xiao was one of them. They had flown over the snowy plains, so they had already experienced the cold air there. Although the cold air was stronger after the scene changed, his body could easily handle it. Open the pot, Fan Ruohai said. The 20 or so women opened the lids and saw that there was a steaming bowl of meat soup on each of their tables. The meat soup was very rich in ingredients. There were probably more than 100 types of ingredients. Furthermore, with just a light sniff of the hot air, he could feel a warm current flowing through his body. The cold air of the snowy plains instantly disappeared. Ling Xiao now understood Fan Ruohai's words. Only in this cold place could the food taste better. This dish is called Heavenly Spirit, Earthly Fiend Scarlet Yang Malatang. It contains 108 kinds of precious ingredients, all of which are more than 2 years old. The seasonings are also carefully prepared. It must be cooked with a flame above a mortal fire. Fan Ruohai smiled and said, Each of these 108 precious ingredients has a special effect. They can increase one's internal force, increase one's cultivation, increase one's soul force, strengthen one's body, and so on. Normally, Only martial artists at the 14th level of the yin-yang realm and above were qualified to taste it. Moreover, it was extremely expensive. Probably not many of the people present could afford it. However, since it's a banquet today, of course, you can taste it for free. Young Master Fan, this is too little. I'm afraid you'll finish it in 2 mouthfuls. Someone said with a bitter smile. I can't help it. The ingredients are too precious. Even I can't get too much. If you want to eat more, you'll have to think of your own ways. Actually, all of you added up is the amount of food for an ordinary person. Fan Ruohai smiled. His words were very ordinary, but some people understood the meaning behind them. Everyone present was smart. They understood the meaning behind Fan Ruohai's words almost instantly. Therefore, as soon as he finished speaking, a battle for the position of elder began at the banquet. Ling Xiao was still observing the ingredients of the heavenly spirit, earthly fiend Malatang, and replicating the method of making it with his Tai Chi eye. He wanted to make it himself in the future. However, suddenly, a shocking aura rushed toward him. The target was his heavenly spirit, earthly fiend Malatang. This person was extremely fast. Moreover, his cultivation was even stronger than the green-robed man that Ling Xiao had sent flying earlier. Then the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th chilling auras were released at the same time. Their targets were actually him and his 3 female companions. After all, they were the 4 weakest people in the banquet. If they really wanted to fight for the ingredients, they would definitely be targeted at the first moment. Cold Plum, Feng Minglian, and Ji Luoyu's heavenly spirit, earthly fiend Malatang, were snatched away in an instant. The attacker was a 7th level yin-yang realm martial artist. Although the 3 of them were stronger than ordinary 3rd level yin-yang realm martial artists and could even defeat 4th level yin-yang realm martial artists and challenge 5th level yin-yang realm martial artists. However, they stood no chance against the attack of a 7th level yin-yang realm martial artist. When the 3 of them were snatched away, many 5th level yin-yang realm martial artists had their heavenly spirit, earthly fiend Malatang, snatched away as well. At the same time, Ling Xiao's Malatang was targeted as well. After a wave of energy fluctuation in the air, a palm formed by yin-yang origin energy grabbed his table. Ling Xiao did not even look at it. He just waved his hand lightly and a blast of energy flew out. The palm was shattered immediately. I'll give you a chance. You'd better return what you snatched from my companions. Otherwise, you won't get anything and will be humiliated. He still placed the heavenly spirit, earthly fiend Malatang on the table. He did not even take any protective measures. It was as if he was giving others a chance to snatch it away. Then, his cold voice rang out on the 15th floor. Unfortunately, his words were treated as a joke. None of the martial artists above the 6th level yin-yang realm were afraid of him. Not only that, but the person who had failed earlier also attacked again. Perhaps he was resentful because he did not succeed the first time. This time his yin-yang origin energy was even more powerful. His huge palm was able to grab the entire table. Fan Ruohai and Mu Wanshuang did not say anything as they watched the fight. They tasted the delicacies on the table while watching the fight. They were especially shocked by the situation on Ling Xiao's side. They had thought that Ling Xiao would definitely be defeated in the first round. They did not expect that the person who ambushed him did not succeed. In that case, how was Ling Xiao going to deal with the second attempt? Wanshuang, do you think he was bragging just now? Fan Ruohai asked with a smile. He doesn't look like it. Mu Wanshuang shook her head and said, most of the martial artists from Sky Dragon Continent and Divine Phoenix Continent have to go through the Sin domain. Even if they pass the test there, they will still be humiliated. However, this Ling Xiao seems to be different. Do you admire him a lot? Fan Ruohai's tone had a hint of jealousy. Chapter 1683. Fan Ruohai seemed to be jealous because Mu Wanshuang had a high opinion of Ling Xiao. Young master, if you don't like him, I can kill him now, Mu Wanchuang said calmly. Haha, that's not necessary. Haha, there's no need. If he really is a promising talent, keeping him around is still useful. The conflict between our Fan clan and the Tianhai clan is already on the verge of intensifying. Sooner or later, there will be a day when we will meet on the battlefield. Having more helpers is still beneficial. Fan Ruohai smiled and continued watching the battle. Bam! Bam! Ling Xiao only casually blasted out a punch, and that dustpan-sized elemental energy palm print was directly shattered into pieces. The shockwave caused the delicious food on the table to shake. Despicable. The attacker's heart was filled with hatred after failing twice in a row. He had only wanted to take the heaven spirit earth fiend Malatang, but now he wanted to attack Ling Xiao as well. As long as he destroyed Ling Xiao, the things in Ling Xiao's hands would be his. Thinking of this, he leaped into the air. A huge handprint descended from the sky and covered Ling Xiao's entire body. Ling Xiao had one hand on the table, but the other hand was secretly accumulating power. Stubborn idiot. I gave you 2 chances, but you didn't know when to stop. Since that's the case, don't blame me for being rude. Do you really think a martial artist at the 6th level of the Yin-Yang realm is so great? Ling Xiao casually took out a piece of alchemy stone. The alchemy stone shattered and wrapped around his table. Ling Xiao could not bear to waste the delicious food on the table. Then he slowly stood up as a terrifying aura burst out from him. Green and golden lights flickered on his arms. He's still trying to fight back? The other martial artists were stunned. Logically speaking, a 4th level Yin-Yang realm martial artist would have a hard time defending himself against an attack from a 6th level Yin-Yang realm martial artist. Yet Ling Xiao was still trying to fight back. This guy was a little cruel. Moreover, this was the Wonder Tower, the Fan family's territory. Generally, foreign martial artists would always be afraid of the slightest thing, not daring to casually make a move. However, Ling Xiao didn't seem to have any such misgivings. He immediately launched a counterattack. You can talk big again if you can take this palm of mine. In the sky, sparks actually appeared on the hands of the 6th level Yin-Yang martial artist. They were in the snowy plains, and yet he was able to start a fire with friction. This was enough to show how rich his Yin-Yang elemental force was. What's wrong with that guy? He actually used 90% of his inner strength. Is it worth it? Even if he really wants to kill Ling Xiao, that would be too exaggerated. A voice came from the crowd, as if they did not quite understand this warrior's attack. That's right. It's like using an array to bombard mosquitoes. It's a complete waste of inner energy. The martial artists at the side also echoed. Both of them were martial artists at the 7th level of the Yin-Yang realm. They took Feng Ming Lian and Cold Plum's heaven spirit, Earth, Fiend Malatang. It was just that he hadn't enjoyed it yet. This was because these 2 fellows were very ambitious. They were planning to divide up the remaining heaven spirit, Earth, Fiend Malatang. When the sandpiper and the clam fought, the fishermen would benefit. If Ling Xiao was seriously injured or died, the heaven spirit, Earth Fiend Malatang would be theirs. Get down here. Just then they heard Ling Xiao's voice. When they looked up, they saw Ling Xiao actually stretching out his hand to grab the 6th level Yin-Yang martial artist in the sky. Was Ling Xiao crazy? That was what everyone was thinking, including Fan Ruohai and Mu Wanchuang. However, what happened next left them completely dumbfounded. Ling Xiao actually managed to grab hold of that cultivator and then abruptly pulled him down. The terrifying strength made that cultivator feel as if his entire body was being imprisoned by something. He could not release the yin-yang elemental force in his body. Rumble. As everyone watched in horror, the 6th level yin-yang martial artist was thrown to the ground. His body bounced back, and the crisp sound of bones breaking could be heard. However, Ling Xiao still did not let him off. He directly stomped his foot down, and that cultivator's chest caved in completely. His eyes instantly became blurry. He looked like he was about to die. This scene caused everyone's pupils to contract abruptly. Their eyes were filled with incomparable shock. Was Ling Xiao really only at the 4th level of Yin-Yang realm? They were already shocked when he sent a 5th level Yin-Yang realm martial artist flying with one punch. This time, it was even more exaggerated. A 6th level Yin-Yang realm martial artist could not even unleash any of his strength. He was thrown to the ground like a bag of trash. Stepping on the martial artist, Ling Xiao scolded in disdain. Is this a genius martial artist from the White Tiger continent? What a piece of trash! His voice was cold and emotionless. The martial artist felt extremely humiliated. He wanted to find a hole to hide in. However, he did not even have the strength to speak now. He could only look at Ling Xiao with pleading eyes. Brother Ling, we can fight but not kill. After all, this is a place to eat. Dead people are inauspicious. Fan Ruohai finally spoke. He really did not want to help anyone. He just felt that dead people were inauspicious. I have to give face to young Master Fan. However, since you are here to plead for mercy, you should at least give something, right? Ling Xiao looked at Fan Ruohai calmly. He did not like this person. Fan Ruohai was a scheming person like Feng Yinshan, but he was even more vicious and hypocritical than Feng Yinshan. Ling Xiao hated such a person. If not for the fact that he was weaker than Fan Ruohai, he would really want to cause a scene here. However, it was impossible for him to let this piece of trash off so easily. There was no way he would let this piece of trash go without any benefits. How dare you not give face to young Master Fan? One of the hostages asked. This is my business. Trash has no right to interfere. If you are not convinced, let's try. Ling Xiao looked at that person with a cold gaze. His gaze was filled with killing intent. The snowy plains were already cold enough, and Ling Xiao's gaze was even more terrifying. The person who spoke was stunned. Then his face flushed red and he shut his mouth. His cultivation was also at the 6th level of the Yin-Yang realm. He did not even see how Ling Xiao won. If he had to fight with Ling Xiao, he might as well just admit defeat. He would definitely be humiliating himself. He really regretted that he had offended this madman from the Dragon Phoenix continent in order to flatter Fan Ruohai. Humph, you are worse than this piece of trash. Not only are you trash, but you are also a coward. The Tianhai Empire actually chose a piece of trash like you to participate in the White Tiger meet. I really wonder how many of you got in through the back door. With a cold snort, Ling Xiao no longer looked at that piece of trash. Instead, he looked at Fan Ruohai and waited for him to speak. Although he didn't attack that person probably even had the heart to die at this moment. After being humiliated in front of so many people and being called a piece of trash that brought shame to the Tianhai Empire, even if he returned to the sect, he probably would not be able to survive. Chapter 1684. The 6th level Yin-Yang realm martial artist clearly felt that it was embarrassing to admit defeat in front of Ling Xiao. However, he was still scared to death and didn't dare to look for trouble with Ling Xiao. He was so embarrassed that he didn't even have his underwear left. His last bit of dignity was also completely lost. Most importantly, it was fine if he was the only one who was embarrassed, but he also dragged the Tianhai Empire into it. This was a little too much. Ha ha ha, Brother Ling, give me some face. How about I give you a bottle of wine? Fan Ruohai wanted to show his generosity. He could not let Ling Xiao kill that martial artist, but he could not lose too much face. A jug of fine wine was extremely hard to come by for the martial artists who came to the Wonder Tower, but it was nothing to him. This wine is called Empty Valley Orchid. After drinking it, although it cannot increase one's cultivation, it can allow one to enter the ethereal state of being one with the world. It is extremely helpful for cultivation. How about it? Of course, it tastes very good. Fan Ruohai explained. Sure. Cultivation required one to enter a special state. This state could increase one's comprehension for a period of time and allow one to enter a state of epiphany. The empty valley orchid wine was like this. He moved his foot away from the 6th level yin-yang realm martial artist, and Fan Ruohai also ordered a female servant to bring over a bottle of empty valley orchid wine. Ling Xiao stored it in his storage ring and did not drink it for the time being. It was more suitable to drink it during cultivation. Then he looked at the 3 7th level yin-yang realm martial artists and said coldly, "Didn't you hear what I said just now? Return the heaven spirit, earth fiend, spicy hot pot that you stole to my 3 companions." Ha ha ha, Ling Xiao, do you really think you are someone? The person who laughed was dressed in purple and looked domineering and powerful. He was the martial artist who stole Ji Luoyu's heaven spirit, earth fiend, spicy hot pot. He laughed loudly and said, "I admit that your cultivation is not bad. You can actually defeat a 6th level yin-yang realm martial artist, who is 2 levels higher than you. This is rare even in the White Tiger mainland. However, to be complacent and self-righteous just because of such a battle record, that would be the height of stupidity. The Tianhai Empire is more than 100 times stronger than your so-called Celestial Empire. Don't think that you can do whatever you want. Under this sky, no, even if it's just within the 15th layer, there are plenty of people who can kill you. Seeing that you're new here and don't know the rules, I sympathize with you and don't want to argue with you. But don't be arrogant because of your talent and go too far. Otherwise, you might bully the weak today." The purple-clad man was extremely arrogant. When he spoke, he did not even look at Ling Xiao. Instead, he communicated with the other 2 7th-level yin-yang martial artists by his side through his eyes. That kind of contempt and disdain could be seen by anyone. However, Ling Xiao did not respond to him at all. Instead, he looked at Fan Ruohai and said, "Young Master Fan, if I steal the heaven spirit, earth fiend, spicy hot pot from these people, does it belong to me?" That person did not look at Ling Xiao initially, but he was ignored by Ling Xiao at this moment. He stood up angrily and finally looked at Ling Xiao. However, his gaze was filled with intense anger. Of course, Fan Ruohai only wanted to watch the show. Of course, he also wanted to see how capable this arrogant dragon phoenix, mainland martial artist, was. How could he be so fearless against a 7th level yin-yang realm martial artist? That's fine. Ling Xiao nodded. Then he turned to look at the purple-clad man and said, "I can return what you said exactly to you. To be honest, apart from young Master Fan and Miss Muan Shuang, I don't care about the rest of the martial artists here. If I want to kill you, I can take your life at any time. It's just that I'm new here and don't want to cause trouble. Now, I'm giving you one last chance. Hand over what you stole. Otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences." Ling Xiao's words caused an uproar. Apart from Fan Ruohai, who smiled, and Mu Wanshuang, who remained expressionless, the rest of the people were filled with righteous indignation. However, only the 3 7th-level yin-yang realm martial artists dared to glare at Ling Xiao angrily. After witnessing how powerful Ling Xiao was, the rest of the people did not dare to provoke Ling Xiao openly. However, it was still possible for them to whisper behind his back, "Arrogant brat, could it be that the martial artists of the Dragon Phoenix continent are all as ignorant as you?" The purple-clad man slammed the table and roared furiously. "Self-aware? I think you should be the one to remember these words, not me." Ling Xiao said nonchalantly, "You don't know what you're talking about. Do you really think you can challenge me, a 7th-level yin-yang realm martial artist, just because you're a 4th-level yin-yang realm martial artist? You think too highly of yourself. People who like to spout nonsense usually die very quickly." The purple-clad man really wanted to kill Su Mo ever since his cultivation had reached the 7th-level yin-yang realm. No martial artist below the 5th level of yin-yang realm dared to talk to him like that. 7th level yin-yang realm? Is it that great? Ling Xiao's face was filled with disdain. If he had encountered a 7th-level Yin-Yang realm martial artist when he had entered Sin Realm, he would not have been able to win. However, he would definitely win now, even if he did not use his tyrannical martial soul. After all, his cultivation had broken through from the 3rd-level Yin-Yang realm to the 4th-level Yin-Yang realm earlier today. After stepping into the Wonder Tower, his cultivation had already advanced to the peak of the 4th-level Yin-Yang realm. However, the arrogant purple-clad man was only at the early stage of the 7th-level Yin-Yang realm. Moreover, he was only an ordinary 7th-level Yin-Yang realm martial artist. He was not a genius like the Dragon Crown Prince or the #1 hero. It would be easier to deal with him. If the two of you want to fight, I have a suggestion. Fan Ruohai suddenly smiled and said, I'll use a complete heaven spirit earth fiend Malahotpot as the prize. Whoever wins will get the prize. I won't take a single cent. This prize definitely had a fatal attraction. Fan Ruohai did this because he wanted both of them to give it their all. This way, the show would be more exciting. He was also more aware of the true strength of this arrogant brat Ling Xiao. Young Master Fan, you're generous. Thank you so much. The purple-clad man cupped his fists and seemed excited. It was as if the complete heaven spirit, earth, fiend, Malahotpot belonged to him. Ling Xiao was not worth mentioning in his eyes. Young Master Fan, can I kill someone? Ling Xiao's words were special. Fan Ruohai frowned and said, It's not auspicious to have a dead person here. What if I don't leave the corpse behind? Ling Xiao said nonchalantly, If you can guarantee that you won't leave the corpse behind, then it's up to you. Fan Ruohai nodded and said, However, you have to understand that if it's a life and death battle, your opponent can also kill you. Are you sure you won't regret it? What joy is there in life? What fear is there in death? If I'm not as strong as my opponent, what's there to regret about dying? Chapter 1685. Great. What joy is there in life? What fear is there in death? I like you. It's rare for an interesting young martial artist like you to appear in the Dragon Phoenix continent. Fan Ruohai smiled happily. Let's fight. Ling Xiao turned around and looked at the purple-robed man. Shocking murderous aura surged out of his body and turned into a sharp blade that pierced towards the purple-robed man. The purple-robed man roared furiously. His powerful aura roared like a ferocious tiger. The two types of murderous aura exploded in the air, and the force shot out in all directions. As the battlefield was in the snowy plains and the two of them were far away from the banquet, they didn't have to worry about the dishes being destroyed. Kill! The moment the murderous aura clashed, Ling Xiao had already figured out his opponent's strength. Then he flashed, and Ice's Fury appeared in his hand in midair. Ice's Fury was a heavy sword with the cold attribute. In this snowy land, it was like an awakened beast that had become even more powerful. Facing Ling Xiao's attack, the purple-robed man sneered in disdain. He was a Yin-Yang realm level 7 expert. His cultivation was 3 levels higher than Ling Xiao's. How could he be defeated by this ignorant brat from the Dragon Phoenix continent? He also had a sword in his hand. However, it was shining with purple light like a swimming dragon. Purple snake sword technique, 1,000 shadows. As he roared furiously, the purple sword in his hand pierced through the air and pierced towards Ling Xiao. Thousands of purple sword lights appeared in the air, and it looked extremely gorgeous. Almost the entire battlefield was enveloped by the purple sword lights. It was chilling, flashy but useless. Useless sword technique. Destroy. Ling Xiao shook Ice's Fury. The Imperial Earth Queen's cells in his body started to circulate. The 500 Imperial Earth Queen's cells were completely released. The Imperial Earth Queen's power gathered on Ice's Fury and exploded with shocking aura. Destroy. Crush. Intimidate. Above was the heavens, below was the earth. In heaven and earth, Only I am supreme. In an instant, the sword lights that filled the sky were destroyed by the terrifying sword aura. Not a single ray of light was left. Ling Xiao was already close to the purple-robed man. There were two terrifying forces spinning on Ice's fury. It wasn't internal energy or soul power. Instead, it was a terrifying power that was beyond the two types of power. The purple-robed man was shocked and hurriedly waved his sword to block the attack. When the swords clashed, the purple-robed man felt as if he had been struck by a terrifying hammer. He lost control of his body and was sent flying. In the air, a streak of dark red blood splattered, looking so poignant. Bang! Pung pung pung! After breaking several pine trees on the snowy plains, the purple-clothed man finally stopped and fell to the ground. The situation was extremely embarrassing. His face was filled with anger and shock. Oh no! When the other two 7th-level Yin-Yang realm martial artists saw that not only did Ling Xiao not intend to stop, but he even continued to pursue them, they stood up and attempted to join the battle. The two of you, sit there obediently. Don't embarrass the martial artists of our Tianhai Empire. Fan Ruohai's cold voice rang out. If I say it's a battle of life and death, then it's a battle of life and death. Are my words so worthless? I don't dare. The two of them shuddered and hurriedly sat down. Swoosh! The sound of something tearing through the air rang out. Ling Xiao's figure transformed into a stream of light and instantly arrived where the purple-robed man fell. He was like a shadow following the purple-robed man. The purple-robed man did not even have a chance to retaliate. When he saw Ling Xiao's snow-white sword piercing towards him, the purple-robed man's heart was filled with fear and regret. He did not understand how his opponent could be so powerful. This had already exceeded his expectations. You said you didn't touch me because you pity me? You don't want to bully the weak? You're so powerful. What a joke! Ling Xiao's voice echoed continuously on the 15th floor. Everyone heard it loud and clear, and they could feel the burning sensation on their faces. The purple-robed man's eyes were blank, and his face was filled with fear. He thought it would be a piece of cake to kill Ling Xiao and obtain the complete heaven spirit earth fiend Malatang. However, the terrifying reality told him otherwise. His opponent defeated him, who had a cultivation base at the 7th level of Yin-Yang stage, with just one sword strike without using his inner energy. He could not even withstand one strike from his opponent. How could the gap be so huge? This sword strike had completely crushed his confidence, causing him to almost fall into a state of collapse. At the banquet, those martial artists who had spoken arrogantly and insulted Ling Xiao with filthy words were all trembling. This martial artist from the Dragon Phoenix continent was not human. He was a monster. I remember now. Suddenly, someone stood up and exclaimed, "He's Ling Xiao, Ling Xiao. Who's Ling Xiao?" The Celestial Emperor. In the White Tiger continent, many martial artists knew that the Celestial Emperor was called Ling Xiao. However, there were many martial artists in the Dragon Phoenix continent called Ling Xiao. They did not expect that this ordinary-looking kid who looked only 17 or 18 years old was the Celestial Emperor who had turned the Sky Dragon and Divine Phoenix continent upside down. Fan Ruohai was pleasantly surprised. The difference between the Fan family and the Tianhai family was military power. If they could rope in Ling Xiao, the Fan family would not lose to the Tianhai family in terms of wealth and resources. Mu Wanchuang's beautiful eyes flashed, and her cold expression melted a little. She was surprised. After all, it was difficult for even her to defeat an opponent who was 3 levels higher than him. Die. The fury of ice pierced through the air and through the man in purple's head. However, just as the blood was about to spurt out, Ling Xiao suddenly had a thought. The 18 Hell Talisman floated above his head, and countless ghostly hands reached out and dragged the corpse in. This scene caused the crowd to be even more astonished. Even Fan Ruohai could not calm down for a long time. This Ling Xiao was too domineering and terrifying. He used the blood soul talisman in the end, right? Fan Ruohai's eyes were filled with even more intense shock. Even he did not have the blood soul talisman, but Ling Xiao had it and used it so well. This guy was even more frightening than he had imagined. Moreover, he had used a very strange and special energy to defeat the three martial artists. It was not internal energy, nor was it soul energy. It was as if it was the pure energy of heaven and earth, and no one dared to look at it. The Celestial Emperor is indeed extraordinary. To be able to stand out in the Sky Dragon and Divine Phoenix continents, this strength is normal. Fan Ruohai was now completely certain. This martial artist who called himself Ling Xiao was really the Celestial Emperor whose reputation spread far and wide. Of course, the so-called reputation spread far and wide on the White Tiger continent as a target of mockery. People often said, "How dare a brat call himself the Celestial Emperor? Ridiculous." This was the common thought of all the martial artists on the White Tiger continent. Chapter 1686. Do the two of you want me to attack again? Ling Xiao returned to the banquet and looked coldly at the remaining two 7th-level Yin-Yang realm martial artists. There was an unquestionable murderous intent in his eyes. You're indeed powerful. We submit. We'll return this heaven spirit, earth fiend, spicy hot pot to you. The two of them looked at each other and finally chose to submit. They were not confident that they could defeat Ling Xiao. After all, Ling Xiao could defeat martial artists of the same cultivation level as them with one strike. It should not be difficult for him to defeat them. Ji Luiyu, Feng Minglian, and Cold Plum took back their portions of Heaven Spirit, Earth Fiend, Spicy Hot Pot. Although it was only a small portion, it was still very rare. There's more. Ling Xiao looked around and said calmly, I've said it before, don't make me angry. Once I'm angry, none of you can have any delicious food. Don't go overboard. Do you want us to hand over our Heaven Spirit, Earth Fiend, Spicy Hot Pot? Ling Xiao's words enraged one of the 7th-level Yin-Yang realm martial artists. Go overboard? Did you think about going overboard when you attacked? Moreover, young Master Fan said that only those who are capable can have it. Do you bunch of trash have the right to enjoy such delicious food? Ling Xiao had never been a polite gentleman. Since it was within the rules, why couldn't he rob others if others could rob him? I'll give you 3 breaths of time. Hand over the items, and you can keep your lives. If you don't, then you can die. Anyway, before the White Tiger meet begins, the participants can kill each other. Ling Xiao said coldly, I didn't expect you to know about this rule. Fan Ruohai was a little surprised. What's so difficult about that? Every time the White Tiger meet begins, the number of martial artists selected is almost double of the actual participants. During this period, there will be many deaths and disappearances. The killing will only be stopped when the number of participants meets the requirements. So, it shouldn't be against the rules if I kill them. I believe the Emperor of the Tianhai Empire won't blame me. Ling Xiao said calmly. 2 breaths left. Ling Xiao did not forget to keep track of the time when he spoke to Fan Ruohai. Soon, some 6th-level Yin-Yang realm martial artists gritted their teeth and took out the items and placed them on Ling Xiao's table. They did not want to die. Ling Xiao could easily kill a martial artist at the 7th level of the Yin-Yang realm. What were they? Even if the heavenly spirit, earthly fiend Malatang, was incomparably precious in order to survive, so what if he had to be a coward for once? 1 breath's left. Ling Xiao's sword exuded a dense killing intent. I'm a man of my word. Whoever doesn't hand over the item will die. Ling Xiao's voice was extremely cold. How? They took out their own heaven spirit, spicy hot pot, and the ones they stole, and gave them to Ling Xiao. With this, Ling Xiao would have 2 complete bowls of Tiangang di Shamala hot pot in addition to the prize he had won. Let me remind you, it's best to only eat this once a month. Otherwise, you won't be able to take it. Fan Ruohai said with a smile. Thank you for the reminder. Let's go. Ling Xiao had already gotten what he needed. He was not willing to waste any more time here. He still had to go back and improve his cultivation. His cultivation was at the peak of the 4th level Yin-Yang realm. He was only 1 step away from the 5th level Yin-Yang realm. He believed that with this heaven spirit spicy hot pot, he would definitely be able to break through. Every time he broke through a new realm, it was equivalent to having an additional life-saving ability for Ling Xiao. Living in the White Tiger continent, he was unfamiliar with the place. Strength was the only thing he could rely on. The 4 of them walked out of the 15th floor and walked down the stairs. Although there were windows in the Wonder Tower, they did not allow flying. If they really jumped out, they would directly fall to the ground. Ling Xiao did not mind, but the 3 girls could not take it. Moreover, he came here openly. There was no need for him to leave through the window. He narrowed his eyes and looked at Ling Xiao's back as he left. That figure quickly disappeared before Fan Ruohai's eyes. However, Fan Ruohai's gaze was still on that side. Celestial Emperor Ling Xiao. What an interesting guy. He was looking forward to seeing how Ling Xiao would perform in the White Tiger meet. Wan Shuang, don't let him surpass you. Fan Ruohai suddenly smiled. That's impossible. Mu Wan Shuang's face was still cold. She said confidently, although he's much stronger than these good-for-nothings, compared to me, he's still too far away. Wan Shuang, don't be careless. He's only 17 years old, and you're already 22. You're 5 years older than him. Fan Ruohai said with a smile. The girl he took in was very talented. He used to think so too. However, after seeing Ling Xiao, he suddenly felt that his usual discipline was a little lax. Mu Wanshuang had to be more servile. Otherwise, it was not impossible for Ling Xiao to catch up with her. At this moment, Ling Xiao and the others had already arrived outside the Wonder Tower and were walking in the direction of the Hero's Tower. After we go back, one portion of the Heavenly Spirit, Earthly Fiend, Spicy Hot Pot will be mine. You can share the other portion with Danfeng, Long Chen, and the others. Ling Xiao had already thought it through. The Heavenly Spirit, Earthly Fiend, Spicy Hot Pot was very effective. He could not finish it in a few days. Food was different from elixirs. After a long time, it would definitely spoil. The effect would be greatly reduced. He might as well share it with his friends. These people were now his subordinates. They were all working for him. If he wanted them to work harder, he had to give them some benefits. As a king, he really could not be too stingy. Moreover, he had already obtained the method of making this thing. In the future, as long as he had the ingredients, he would be able to make it. He would not have to worry about not being able to eat it. You're very generous. However, these were all obtained by your hard work. How can we accept it? Ji Uiyu said with a wry smile. If you feel embarrassed, it's easy. When we go back, I'll give you a list of ingredients. You can help me find it. Your Heavenly Dragon Trading Company is best at doing this kind of thing. Ling Xiao said with a smile. No way. You've obtained the method of making the Heavenly Spirit, Earthly Fiend, Spicy Hot Pot? Ji Luiyu was so surprised that her mouth was as if an apple had been stuffed into it. Shil, lower your voice. This is a secret of the Fan family. It's enough for the few of us to know. Don't spread it out. Otherwise, the Fan family will really fight with me. Ling Xiao made a shushing gesture. Oh, I know. Ji Luiyu hurriedly covered her mouth. However, she could not hide the excitement on her face. After a long time, she said, Leave the matter of the ingredients to me. With this thing, the strength of our Heavenly Dynasty Empire's martial artists will increase by a large margin. At the very least, it should not be a problem for them to increase by a realm. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.